Connor, you promised me that one day you'd take me to my special place.
Yeah, we went. It was Butland's. Do you not remember that? We went down to the Great Yarmouth Butland's. We had a great time.
No, it can't be Butland's, Connor.
Why can't? All right, fine. Fucking Centre Parks. Final offer. Actually, it's a bit expensive. You're gonna settle for Pontins? Maybe Haven? This is a deep cut.
That's what I'm saying!
Okay, fine. We'll go to Walt Disney World Orlando. How about that? There we go.
Can you do this entire episode in that accent?
Okay. We're gonna lose everyone. Anyway, now that we've scared away about 10 people from watching this episode. Hi, Ash.
We're weeding out the weak, Connor. We're leaving the strong, the mightiest podcast listeners, the cream of the crop. Resident Evil 5. That one's for you. People out there waiting for it.
Well, we already did, the Tulip episode. That's been pretty good at weeding out the weak.
Anyway, that's in the past. We're looking towards the future, Connor.
The future?
And by the future, I mean a game that's 25 years old.
Oh! Yes!
Listen, there are things in the world that are inevitable. The sun rises in the east, the grass grows, other things I can't think of. And we will talk about Silent Hill.
Of course.
It was going to happen. I alluded to this last episode. There's just no way around it.
Ash, if you were the one person in the world who loved talking about horror games but hated Silent Hill, that would have been a real, deep cut. That would have been unique. It would have been a real niche.
That would have been a great gimmick. I should try and do that.
Yeah.
I should try and, 1984, brainwash myself into hating Silent Hill.
We'll condition you to do it.
Yeah.
2 minutes of hate, it just flashes up a picture of Harry Mason and you start throwing things at it.
Harry Mason's okay.
Yeah.
He's barely a character.
He's a stand-up kind of guy.
Yeah, he cares about his daughter.
Yeah.
He writes things in memo pads.
But you know who isn't a stand-up kind of guy? James Sunderland!
What do you mean?
Well, you know...
He's got all the same qualities that Harry Mason has. He has a girl in his life that he cares about.
Yes.
And he seems kind of moody.
Yeah, and he's not much of a character, is he? He's just kind of a sad kind of guy. Sort of meanders around, doesn't he?
Meaningfully hum at each other for a while. Yeah.
Yeah, so this is Silent Hill 2, a game whose reputation precedes it, really.
Yeah.
If you've managed to get this far not understanding what Silent Hill 2 is actually about, not knowing, how the kind of story goes, the impact it's left on games, we would be delighted to be the ferryman across the River Styx that will show you the way.
Yeah, get on our paddle boat and we'll take you on a journey.
Don't pay us until we get you to the other side. That's an important rule of the ferryman.
Is it?
Yeah, there's a whole song about it called Don't Pay the Ferryman.
I haven't really heard much songs.
That's fair. You only listen to Block Mind.
I'm all about that Block Mind lifestyle, yeah.
Block Mind and Terror in the Depths of the Fog.
Listen, we can joke about Block Mind all day, but Terror in the Depths of the Fog fucking slaps, dude. That's one of the best ones on this fucking album. We'll get to it, but...
Yeah. But yeah, this is a big game. We couldn't have really gone on with the list without it. Episode 4 was Signalis, right? Signalis is just this game.
Because this is perhaps one of the most important horror games of all time. I would, as a self-professed expert in the field of horror games, as long as they're not Five Nights at Freddy's related, I would say Silent Hill 2 is maybe the cream of the crop, really. It's probably if not the most influential release, one of the most influential releases in terms of video game horror.
It is. I think in a storytelling aspect as well. I think it kind of pushes the boat out for doing something quite bold.
Yeah, for me it's narrative, it's visuals, and it's vibe. I think the vibe of Silent Hill 2 and the kind of the feel of its story is something that horror developers have aimed to achieve for generations since the game's release.
Yeah. Out of curiosity, would you consider Silent Hill 2 to be your favourite in the series?
I go back and forth between that and Silent Hill 3, because in Silent Hill 3 you play as a girl.
This is true.
That's not actually the reason why. So, we are going to make an episode about Silent Hill 3, because, I think that Silent Hill 3 is a better playing game than Silent Hill 2, but Silent Hill 2 is a much better experience than Silent Hill 3.
That's kind of how I feel about it as well. Yeah. I think that Silent Hill 2 is a very well realized sort of final result, whereas Silent Hill 3 has a very difficult challenge to overcome, which we can elaborate on when we get to that episode. Yeah. But I think it's probably worth for those of you who are not aware of Silent Hill 2 to maybe give it a proper introduction, shall we?
Excellent. Silent Hill 2 concerns ourselves with the sad, sad tales of a man named James Sunderland. So James is a very, I would say, reserved kind of personality. He's not someone who gives his opinions on a lot of topics, if not asked. He's very demure, I would say. Can you apply that word to men? I'm not quite sure.
Yeah.
And he has the particular problem that his wife, Mary Sunderland, has recently, has passed away 3 years ago from a terrible sickness, unspecified. The problem, though, is that he has recently received in the mail, I don't know why I specify that it's in the mail, like a guy just gives it to him in the street, a letter supposing itself to be from his wife Mary, saying that she is waiting for him in their special place, Silent Hill.
Yeah, that has got to be strange, though, because she's obviously dead, so how could this letter have even reached him?
And that's what James says. He says to himself it couldn't possibly be true, but something has drawn him to this mysterious, foggy town in the middle of Maine.
Yeah, that's true, actually. It's set in Maine.
Yeah.
It's the Stephen King special.
The home of American horror.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of true.
Yeah, no,
like,
I
it's
agree.
Obviously Stephen King, Silent Hill's in Maine, and Lovecraft stuff is all in New England.
Oh, true as well, actually, yeah.
It's a great spot for that kind of spooky marine vibe, you know?
Yeah. But so, as a result of that, James decides to trudge into the town, going through the general outskirts and meeting a few sort of like strange folks who have also been drawn to the town for their own reasons, before uncovering that there is really something wrong with these empty streets that aren't empty for long. And that's when it's probably worth us talking about what drew us to this game. Because Silent Hill 2 is a game that you played as a kid, right?
Yeah, who let's take a guess among us who played this game. Who brought this one to the table?
Yeah, who showed the other one this game?
Guess what? It was me, baby. Yes, so Silent Hill 2 is a game from my childhood. However, I have perhaps the worst memory from my childhood. I cannot remember shit about when I was young. I played Spyro a bit, I guess. Other than that, it's all the days. So I had a Xbox copy of Silent Hill 2. There was a kind of a phase when I was around 12, so in like 2008 or something like that, where I was starting to get into survival horror games. And I think a great impetus for that was that I had access to the internet and to YouTube.
Yeah.
And I watched a lot of Let's Plays of games like Haunting Ground, like Silent Hill, like Fatal Frame, things like that. But the only one that I was really able to get my hands on other than Fatal Frame 1 was Silent Hill 2. And I was obsessed with this game when I was a teenager. Like, Silent Hill, I mean, you were there. You remember the days.
I do. I remember that.
How about you, Connor?
Well, we have to go back to 2020, the sort of early days of the list, where we had pivoted almost entirely from playing solely games that we thought were kind of bad/mediocre to playing stuff that we intended to just enjoy as like a good experience.
Like Haunting Ground.
Well, Haunting Ground was a good transitionary one, because to you were like, Haunting Ground's great, this is just Clock Tower but good, and I was sitting there being like, oh yeah? I love the gesturing you're doing. I wish the audience could see it, but alas. Well, we'll rotoscope it later. But then, like, we obviously played Ridge Racer Type 4, and then after that was Silent Hill 2.
What are you talking about? we had the fucking racing experience of our lives, and I was like, I know what you need, bro. To be real bummed out. I'm so good like that. I'm like, I'm gonna bring you down to fucking earth. You are in the racing heavens right now.
Well, I think you were like, okay, let's show you like a well-realized, unanimously considered like fantastic horror game with Silent Hill 2, which I played. That was me the whole way through.
Yeah.
Across
Not like the other horror games where I didn't let you play them.
As a result of that, we played through the game 2 settings. It was a really good time in the darkness of the old room.
Yeah, we used to play in this like tiny box room, like this like spare cupboard. It was, and I'm not being ironic, it was fucking amazing.
It was
the
beautiful.
vibe in there was so good.
But yeah, I think this is where I would want to segue to a point.
Go into it.
Which is that when it comes to the list, obviously, as we mentioned, there are some games that like you bring to the table, some games that I bring to the table.
Yeah.
Typically, the ones I'll bring are ones that are, like, important to me as a kid, or they're ones that we've played before, like, when we were younger, and we're like, let's experience these again.
All the ones that you find funny.
All ones that I find really funny.
Yeah.
So, excluding those that specifically I've brought, we've played a lot of games on the list. The full list at the moment is about 73 games?
74.
74 games, wow. Out of those games, and knocking out the ones that I grew up with or played frequently...
Among the Ash games.
Yeah. I usually only have ever played through them and beaten them once, and that was for the list. But there are two exceptions of games that I went out of my way to play in my own time because I wanted to. Resident Evil 2 Remake and Silent Hill 2.
Those ones are alright.
Yeah. So if you want to know if, like, I'm going to be, like, a sourpuss about this, or if I'm going to be real damn positive about it, I went out of my way to experience it, like, 2 more times after this, so...
No, we have achieved unity on this front.
Yeah.
We have finally reached equilibrium.
So there was a habit I would make of, like, every couple years or so trying to play this game again around Halloween, which is when we're recording it at the moment. Yeah. It's been perfect weather for it, actually, for perfect weather for finding your wife.
Very gloomy day.
Yeah, but,
we didn't find her either.
But I'd play it in a dark room, I'd order some pizza in, I'd get to the bit where James says, "How can you sit there and eat pizza?" And I'd have my pizza out and I'd take a picture of it because I found it funny. It was a real damn good time.
Yeah, I'm glad, yeah.
And I always enjoy playing it again.
That's kind of like the desired outcome of doing this, because obviously there's like multiple elements to bringing a game to the list, which is either I think Connor will find this game funny, or I secretly hope that he will come to like it. And I think when you have the games where you do actually come to like it, even beyond me just bringing it to you, that's kind of like the best feeling you can get from this kind of show. It's something that's really important to you, and it's connected with someone that you care about.
Yeah.
And that's what you want for all of them, really, but you can only have for a few of them.
Oh yeah, I mean, this is a game that I've thought about consistently over the last 5 years that I've wanted to play again, and to be fair, there's other games like that maybe just because I haven't played them again, it doesn't mean I value them.
Yeah.
But this one really worked. I think I'd say for a time that it was one of my favourite games full stop, and I have to thank you for introducing me to it.
Yeah, I'm pretty good like that.
Yeah.
Please ignore all the horror games that didn't land.
Okay, start playing sad music, turn the thumbnail grayscale, and start, like, having the little, like, in memoriam of the ones scrolling up right now. That'll be pretty good. I think that'd be nice. Only ones we've covered, though. We can't censor those ones coming up right now.
We will never tell you the list. That's part of the mystery, okay?
What about the actual development history of this game, Ash? Because admittedly, this is a bit of a vague spot for me. I don't really know much about how this game was made. Just a few tidbits and flakes on the internet that have fluttered around.
Well, in the most tedious of ways, Connor, to understand Silent Hill 2, you have to understand Silent Hill 1 and how Silent Hill 1 was made. Because the general idea is that this game is published and developed by Konami. You may know them for doing things. You may know them for being the worst for a while. But now they're like, we're so back, here's Silent Hill 2 again. And we're like, damn.
And here's Metal Gear Solid 3 again.
Ooh, pretty crazy, right? And I'm like, damn.
Do you want to play more Yu-Gi-Oh?
So, the lore, and my memory for this isn't as good as it used to be, is that all of the people who made Silent Hill 1 were basically like the ragtag band of losers who couldn't get on in any of Konami's other development teams. So they crammed them all together and went, oh, you fucking guys, we're gonna give you some money. Just be over here and do a thing for a while, and then come back around and we'll see what you've got. And the game that they ended up making was the first Silent Hill, released for the PS1 in, I believe, 1998?
It's like 8 or 9.
Yeah,
one
around that time, yeah. And was actually a surprise critical and commercial success. It was applauded for its much more unique psychological approach to horror, its smarter narrative chops. I will say smarter in quotation marks because it's smarter in comparison to Nightmare Creatures 2 and like Resident Evil 3.
Yeah.
So it's not a huge bar to clear. But it's Silent Hill 1 is like, I think it's weakened by its stupid cult plotline and its obsession with Gnostic mysticism. There's a bit where an old lady goes, and I will cast a magic spell, and it's a bit doofy like that. But it was enough of a success to prompt development for a sequel, which was to be made for the PlayStation 2, and to release in the first year of the PlayStation 2's life, which is like, God, the first year of the PS2's life. What were we doing back then? Why can't we have that now? So this game was released in 2001 on the PS2. I believe in both Japan and America. And from what I can tell, they had a different idea of the direction they wanted to go, because Silent Hill 1 was very blood and guts and rust and decay and all this stuff like that. And I think they wanted to, with the cloud that they had from making Silent Hill 1 and making it such a success, they wanted to go in a much more mature narrative-based direction, where like all of the monsters would be based on the narrative, much more than they were in Silent Hill 1. It would have a focus on storytelling in a way that Silent Hill 1 didn't quite have as much. And it resulted in this very, very idiosyncratic, very, very distinct feeling game that, like, Silent Hill 2, I don't think it feels like Silent Hill 1, and I don't think it feels like any other game that was on the market at the time.
Yeah.
Like, I kind of feel like the strength of these games from a development standpoint is that the people who were making them were, like, people who had, like, a vision. And they had, like, ideas, and they had stuff they wanted to do that they could achieve with the money they had from Silent Hill 1 in a way that was really interesting.
Well, that's what I wanted to say as well, because to me, Silent Hill 2 feels like a really complete vision. Given how well it executes what it's doing, it feels like it had enough time and enough money to do what it wanted to. But apparently this game's development did get quite rushed, and there were things that needed to be cut and stuff. So it's kind of incredible how much is intact and that forms this, like, really clear idea of what it wants to be.
Yeah. Although, would you be surprised to learn that this game was not massively well received at the time?
Wait, really?
It was actually so I read a few reviews, and I obviously, like, when I was younger, I was trying to keep up with all this stuff. But it was actually seen as a disappointment compared to Silent Hill 1.
Oh,
like,
wow.
It was seen as being too bland, I suppose, too boring to put it into words. Like, I don't think people appreciated that Silent Hill 2 was much more subtle in terms of its visuals. Because Silent Hill 1 is like, you're in a blood world and there's pterodactyls flying around and there's blood everywhere.
Fucking pterodactyls.
Whereas Silent Hill 2 is much more content to have its other world be, it's grimier now.
Yeah.
And going through it as like a game and going at it from the angle of, I want this to be like Silent Hill 1, I can see how that would have been disappointing.
Yeah.
And they also, not to like blow up anyone's spot, but I don't think games journalism and reviews in 2001 was especially best placed to critique a game where its emphasis is really smart storytelling. Like, I'm just listen, okay?
Like when we got like G4 TV out there being like, who's got the best boobs in gaming?
I don't think it was like
Lara Croft.
Yeah, it wasn't the best time for that kind of narrative focus, I don't think. Feel free to blow me up if you disagree, but that's the impression that I get from going back through all the reviews and stuff.
I think that's understandable.
Well, have you seen that American Games cover where it's the cover story is Silent Hill 2 and it's got a really ripped James with like zombie hands clawing at him?
I fucking love that picture so much. Pop it up there, Ash. You know exactly what the fuck to do here. For a story like Silent Hill 1 where it's about this guy dashing through this town to go save his daughter and fighting off monsters, doing that Doom Guy kind of like art would be weirdly appropriate. But for James, who is a character who is frequently emasculated and kind of pathetic, it's so funny as a contrast.
If we can come back to this when we've talked about the game story and thinking about that version of James doing the things that happens in this story.
It'd be so good. No, yeah, so it's a bit of an interesting one. But maybe this is a good time to springboard off that visual element, because I understand why people would be disappointed, because sorry to jump forward to Silent Hill 3, but Silent Hill 3 is probably closer to what people wanted. It goes back to that bloodied style.
I would say if you're looking for like imaginative horror set pieces, Silent Hill 3 is like the peak.
Yeah.
Like, Silent Hill 3 has the kind of visuals where if someone says you can't like this thing on a higher level because it just looks nice. Nah, look how good this shit looks though.
Yeah.
Like that shit is enhancing what this thing is going for in a way that's really important to it.
Oh, yeah. That's the way to do it. You use your visuals to enhance your storytelling. You don't just rely solely on people buying it because it's pretty.
But I think the contrast is that in Silent Hill 2, they made the conscious decision to make the visuals match the story. And what the story called for wasn't flashy, which makes it seem boring at first glance. Yeah. But it's a real grower, I feel.
I think that it's pretty damn good looking for the time. I think it does a lot of really good stuff with the hardware, and like, the thing about the PlayStation 2, right, and its fucking fog engine, this was making all the use of it, you know? Like,
oh yeah, the fog in this game is so good that they've never been able to make the fog as good again.
Yeah.
Because apparently the PS2 was just really good at that for some weird reason. And like every attempt to port this game to another platform, the fog just gets fucked up.
Yeah.
Because it really like envelops you. It kind of like clouds all around the character and into the screen.
Yeah.
Whereas all of its various re-releases, the fog is just this wall that like materializes as you walk forward. Whereas on the original PS2 version, it kind of like chokes you. It's fantastic.
I can sort of understand, especially from like a color perspective, how people would find this game uninteresting from a visual standpoint. But I do like those moments where it gets grimy and filthy, and like it's always appropriate to the scene, right? When it gets to that point, it knows how to escalate that kind of element of its visuals. And I also think that the way it's designed that segment of the town of Silent Hill is kind of neat. It gets a little samey sometimes as you dash through the streets and stuff.
But... Well, should we talk a little bit about the eponymous town?
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah. Because obviously Silent Hill is like a famous video game location, but do people really know Silent Hill?
Well, no, because there's always misinformation about what it's based on or what it is. Because
it's all very vague, yeah.
Yeah, it's obviously, as we know that the game is set in Maine,
yes.
effectively, so it's trying to go with that style.
And it's like a seaside resort town, isn't it?
It is. It's the Great Yarmouth of America.
Shut up.
Where you have Butlins! I've tied it back, Ash!
There's no Butlins in Great Yarmouth. You gotta go all the way to fucking Skegness for that shit, man.
Oh, yeah, right.
All they got in Yarmouth is the Silent Hill arcade machine and fucking SeaWorld or whatever it's called.
They got a caravan park, I think that's what I was thinking of.
They got that rubble.
Pirate Golf.
Pirate Golf, yeah.
Yeah, if Silent Hill had a Pirate Golf level, that would have been fucking killer, you know? That'd go from like a top 20 game for me to like a top 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, what did you want to say specifically about the town of Silent Hill?
Alright, I'm going to make a conscious decision not to talk about the mythology of Silent Hill, because you know what? That shit can wait till Silent Hill 3. Because the mythology is stupid.
I mean, it's vague in this game. It's
it
not
is.
really...
That is the point I'm trying to make, is that the cult aspect of Silent Hill, the demon aspect, all that stuff that's very important to Silent Hill 1 and 3 and other games, doesn't matter at all in Silent Hill 2.
Yeah.
Silent Hill 2 presents the town as just a nexus point of pain and torment that draws people towards it for some kind of like deliverance from themselves or whatever it is that's haunting them. Although there is obviously a town that exists that's called Silent Hill. Apparently it's a lovely tourist place if you're a newly wedded couple, according to James and Mary. There's a kind of hidden darkness that they've decided to make neutral in this game. It's no longer because there's a great evil ghoul called Bagul who's doing bad shit. It's just like there's something at the heart of this town that's dark and twisted, just like me for real.
Yeah, I see it as a judge.
Yes, a judge is very appropriate.
But it is matching the vibe of a sort of resort town, where that's probably where most of the money comes in and where most people don't have many other opportunities. It's presented as a very bleak and kind of basic town.
I think they're kind of going for like a post-industrial, this town used to be like a big hub, and now the world has moved on from that kind of industry or that kind of economy. The town is now kind of decaying away, basically.
Yeah, which again kind of ties into what it's going for with its visuals and its griminess and such. But it does mean you get a few cute little landmarks you can kind of latch onto, like when it has like Gonzalez's Mexican restaurants and what is it called? Neil's Bar?
Neely's Bar.
Neely's Bar as well, yeah. When you kind of you can stop by at these places and just kind of have a look around at them. I don't think you can go into Gonzalez's.
No, sadly not, yeah.
You can go into Neely's Bar, that's important.
That is important, yeah. That's plot critical.
Yeah. But there is something, I think this is coming from someone who's never really lived in a place that's looked like the town of Silent Hill.
Yeah.
I am kind of strangely enamored by its architecture and its interiors and like these little things about it, because like I live in a city with narrow streets and a mixture of buildings from the 1300s and the 1900s, you know? Whereas Silent Hill, it feels like it's dated even for its time, but it feels like the buildings and their interiors have that dated dark wooden paneling, the shutters and everything. I'm kind of talking a little bit mostly about the apartments when I say this. But
I think that applies to a lot of the areas in the game, though.
Yeah.
Like the Bowlarama.
And
the motel that you can go to with Maria. Like, places like that. Have that kind of like 1960s America vibe, you know?
Yeah. It's a place where you could consider that if you weren't looking at it through the lens of James Sunderland, it probably would be a kind of cute and quaint town that's obviously in its dying days, as it were, but and there's something quite charming about it. It feels very grounded.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to live in Silent Hill, but I'd love to visit for a day.
As long as you haven't got anything weighing you down, it's going to be alright. So let's pivot back, I guess, to the visuals now. I have a kind of, not a theory, but like, I have a feeling about the way these games look, which is kind of how I explain to myself why they haven't worked so much in the later console eras that Silent Hill has been a part of, is that I think these games have an incredibly analog kind of horror. I think the fact that this game is being played at 480p on a CRT is really important to how it looks, and how it kind of creates this sort of claustrophobic, crushing darkness around you, and how the horror is more about there is something over there and it's doing something, but I can't quite make out what it is, and that's what's scary about it.
Yeah.
And when you put that into HD, 4K, 1080, ray tracing, whatever you do, it kind of takes away that effect of just this kind of griminess that I really like about the PS2 Silent Hill games.
I fully agree, and it's a damn shame. I mean, the thing is that you can see now with a lot of indie projects where people are trying to remake the style of the 5th and 6th generation of consoles.
Yeah.
Which obviously industry professionals respond with, why are you bothering? We used to hate doing this.
Yeah.
But obviously there is a certain appeal with certain genres, and one of them is horror, that like trying to make out what is there, and it really works under certain lighting and such. There's lessons to be taken from there that you can apply into HD games, but it's very tricky to get it one-to-one.
I don't know. Obviously there's been many other Silent Hill releases in the years since Silent Hill 2. Some of them have been on HD consoles, some of them have been remakes of Silent Hill 2 in various forms. And I just think the visual package of this game is such a product of its time, of the people who made it, of the hardware they were making it on, and just all these factors that make it impossible to replicate how this game looks.
Yeah.
And how Silent Hill 3 looks. They just have this kind of inherent grimy fuzziness that I just don't think works anymore with how high resolution our TVs are and how great our lighting systems are, you know?
Yeah.
There's a kind of like time and place quality to it that I think any version of this game that is removed from that time and place, to me, feels like a pale imitation.
Yeah.
Like, that remake is a very convincing recreation of that story in a modern sense, but it hasn't got that fucking 2001 rock griminess to it, you know? Like that industrial there to it. I can't put it into words, but there's something about it that is so unique to this game, you know?
Yeah.
Code Veronica or Resident Evil 0 or Fatal Frame or any of those games don't look like this game.
I think there are many people who would say the same.
Yeah.
But do we want to discuss the gameplay?
Guess what, fellas? That camera's real fixed up there, ain't it?
Oh, you love it up there, don't you? You love it when it's in one
Don't even
place.
fucking get me started.
There is a surprising number of cases where the camera is like, it is still kind of following you.
Yeah, so in sharp contrast to the Resident Evil games prior to Code Veronica and following Code Veronica, but that's a whole other thing, this game is being rendered entirely in 3D. So the camera is able to be moved, and in fact, in some locations, you do have the ability to move it. Although it's not necessarily the smoothest experience in the world, because you have to hold down L2, and then the camera just kind of unlocks itself, and you can swivel it around. It's not like a third-person camera in the way that you're thinking. It's like you're swiveling a little view around James in these corridors. But the camera, for all intents and purposes, is fixed. This is a resource game. There are enemies, there are puzzles. Get through the puzzles while killing all the enemies, although I would say in this game that's actually not how this works. It's just run by them because they suck. This is a survival horror game. I will say there is a nuance to this that we talked about in Signalis, in that Resident Evil and horror games of its ilk, they are interesting mechanically because their levels and their environments are big puzzle boxes. They're big, intricate environments that it's a joy to unravel and to figure out all the ways through. I would say that Silent Hill is just a game of levels that happens to have monsters and puzzles in them. It's not like there's a sense of progression in this one space. Yeah. It's just, here is level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4. Also, there is no inventory limitations in this game. You can carry every item in the game at once. So I would actually say this is more of a subcategory of survival horror, which is just kind of an adventure game with spooks in them.
Oh, I mean, this game has some adventure game logic to it, really.
Yeah, it does, yeah.
In many cases. But I think that's understandable. I actually quite like the puzzle solving in this. I think that's kind of...
Because that was the thing that was fun about Signalis, was that Signalis was a synthesis between the Resident Evil limited inventory, resource management gameplay loop with Silent Hill's puzzle-based, level-based structure.
Yeah.
And that's what was cool about this game. But now we're going back to the source, you know, to the family tree of Resident Evil up here with its complicated levels and Silent Hill up here with its wacky puzzles.
Yeah. But because this doesn't have the limited inventory of Resident Evil, that means there's a lot more opportunities for you to stock up on some ammunition and have it with you in case you're in a pinch. Which, I know typically you are supposed to try and avoid enemies, but there can be times where you do get cornered and you will have to fend them off, at least to give yourself an opening to get out.
Yeah, I would describe it, or I would encapsulate it by saying that this doesn't have safe rooms, this doesn't have limited inventory, so this is just, you are going through a level, and the monsters are impeding you the way that they do in fucking Mario, you know? Like, you can kill them and that's good for you, and it's all
gotta
good.
Kill every Goomba. There's two different kinds of approaches to combat, where it's like you either go at it with like a melee weapon, or you go at it with a gun if you are having to defend yourself. And like, guns are straightforward, you kind of point, you shoot, James will kind of...
You can move and shoot.
You can move and shoot. It's not Resident Evil 1 or 2 or the other one.
It's almost as if that was a gameplay decision, not a mechanical limitation. You fools!
You just kind of loosely point your gun in that direction and you put enough bullets in them to hope that they stop moving. Or you can pick up, a chunk of wood or a pipe. There's not a massive amount of options for melee, but in either case...
You get the great knife.
You do get the... If you're good enough, if you can go get it, if you have the bravery to get the grape knife...
the grape knife?
The gravy knife.
If you can get the gravy knife, you will have a delicious meal.
You can kind of do a little bit of a sidestep. You can, whack them with a left and a right and an overhead.
You can strafe in this game.
Yeah.
This game's got pressure-sensitive buttons.
Yeah. Which I think is good for encouraging you to, move out of there, obviously Resident Evil is hoping that you can swerve around and it makes a real challenge out of avoiding monsters. Whereas Silent Hill, it's kind of more of a case of, here are the tools for you to escape if you are trapped.
Yeah, the monsters in this game just bonk you. They don't grab you or anything. They just go, bleh, and you go, ugh.
Yeah.
But you can still get by them pretty quickly.
If you are lucky enough to be able to down an enemy, though, you will see them wriggling around on the ground, and that usually means that, they ain't dead yet.
Yeah.
They're technically still alive, they can recover, so it's up to you
giving them a good kick.
Yeah, you gotta get up to them and put a right proper stomp on them and hope that they eventually start bleeding the pool of blood beneath them and they stay perfectly still. But that's generally kind of the way that combat will work. There's not a massive amount of enemy variety in this game. Most of them you approach in basically exactly the same way in combat.
I read in an interview that the director wishes there was less enemies in the game.
Really?
Less enemy types. He's like, there are 8 of them, it's too many. I wanted to have 5. It's who made you put more in?
Honestly, I feel like that's one of the criticisms to Silent Hill 2,
is
it really doesn't have many things to fight. If you're not including bosses especially, it's the lying figure, the legs, the bed... I keep wanting to call them the bedfellows.
When you mean the abstract daddies.
The abstract daddies. Yeah. Where do I get bedfellows from?
They're a bed.
Abstract Daddy is a significantly better name
than the Bedfellows.
It
sounds like an a cappella group.
They do sound like a a cappella group. Then you get the nurses, which have become an iconic symbol of the Silent Hill games.
And we all get to be out there on the streets with our Thomas Manga name cards being like, no, the boobs is a window into her soul.
Trust me, it's appropriate in this one. It's in all the other ones where they fuck it up.
Yeah.
A couple of enemies are a little more incidental, background things,
the bugoos.
The bugoos? Are they the ones that
little bugs? They go, wow, 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 and they make the little wheel noise.
Yeah, for some reason I kept thinking they were called the pinwheels, but that's just... I don't know
these names from.
I don't know. I must have been listening to someone talk about Dark Souls around the time we played Silent Hill. Well, speaking of getting good...
You do not need to get good to be good at this game.
No.
I would say, actually, the biggest criticism of Silent Hill 2 from a mechanical perspective is that it's so fucking easy. There was a reason why I kind of, equivocated on calling this a resource management game. Because all the ingredients are there for it to be a resource management game, but then the game gives you 500 handgun bullets and 25 first aid kits, and all the enemies are idiots. Yeah. And they all just stand there going, wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. You can just run right by them with no problem.
Especially on the streets themselves, where they're quite wide open.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
You can kind of
And then just throwing them at you, and you're just like, whatever, man.
Yeah,
I'm out of here.
I'm out of here.
Yeah.
Talk a bit about the user interface, maybe.
It's like Resident Evil. You have to go into the inventory, and there's a little window in the top. But instead of it being fine yellow, red, it's a screenshot of the game.
Yeah, that's where you are.
It's got a filler over it that slowly becomes red the more damage you take.
And it gets shaky and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's clear enough for you to understand that you're in bad shape. Although I can definitely see some people not keeping track of that properly and dying and be like, why am I dead? What the hell?
Well, the best thing about it is that the controller rumbles. When you're low HP, it rumbles to the beat of your heart. And the more damage you take, it gets quicker.
I think if you're used to more clear information in games, it's going to probably throw you off a
this
bit.
is one of those games where it has no on-screen UI. The game has nothing on the screen that is the video game, here's your health bar, here's your mini-map, stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's entirely clear, which I think really works in the game's visual favour.
No, I agree with that. I know we were going to put sound before characters, but should we just mention the characters while we're here?
There's a beautiful list of characters.
You can count them all on one hand. There's really not many characters in this game.
So obviously you have your main character, James Sunderland.
Mm-hmm.
There's his wife, dead. She dresses like a Mormon.
She does dress like a Mormon.
Yeah, or like a 1950s housewife.
You get a handy little picture of her in your inventory.
Yeah,
you can be like, oh, look at her.
check it out.
Yeah.
There's Angela, the very first character that you meet other than James.
Yeah.
Who is a kind of... Is frumpy the right word?
I don't know. Yeah, she's got that jumper on with the brown pants.
Well, it's confusing because the game opens with James overlooking the lake that Silent Hill is set by, and he gives this big speech about the letter that he got from Mary, thus beginning of the game. And then you, like, wander through the forest for a while, and then you end up in a graveyard.
Yeah.
And, like, Angela's sitting down at a grave, and they have a conversation. And it's here where you can kind of get the sense that no one in this game is going to talk normally.
Yeah.
Because they have a kind of quasi-normal conversation, where... James is asking Angela the way into town, and it's got... I'm going to replicate a lot of the lines in this game, because the delivery is quite funny. Angela asks James what he's doing, and he says he's trying to get into town, and says he's lost, and Angela goes, lost! Like that for some reason. And they have this kind of weird tension, because James is like, I'm looking for my wife, she's dead. I'm not crazy, though. And then Angela's like, oh, I'm also looking for my mama. No, I mean my mother. And they have this kind of like weird, like they're talking past each other kind of dialogue style.
It's a real battle of wits.
It is a real battle of wits. It's also a battle of people like being like, oh, this dialogue is already awkward and stilted. And it's like, yeah.
It's very strange because I think basically every character is perfectly cast as far as like voice actors are concerned, because they're all able to sound like quite normal people but with something vaguely off about themselves. And when they need to do a good performance, they can do it. Yeah. Like, pretty damn well.
I mean, if we're getting onto the topic of me defending the voice acting, well, let's fucking go. Let me put my armor on. If you watch the making of documentary that comes with the special edition of the PS2 version, you can see them during, like, the producers of the game during the voice acting process. And it becomes very clear that they got all the actors to do, like, multiple takes. And according to Guy Seehey, the voice actor for James, they were doing them better and more naturally. And the director was like, no, more stilted, more weird. Because that's the kind of the effect that they were going for.
Yeah.
Which I think kind of works, but that's just me.
No, I think that's fair. I'm kind of in the same camp because I've been hill-pilled, as it were, or silent-pilled, I don't know what you'd want to call it, into thinking that, like, I really like the way these are performed. And I can see why they're off-putting to other people, but I do think that the deliveries are a big enough part of the game to be really integral to the impact of it.
Yeah.
But they're also a small enough role in the game where you can ignore them if you think that they're, like, not great.
I mean, I was trying to think about this and how I was going to articulate this point, because I've talked about this before as like a kind of hypothetical that we haven't really got too much into. Does a thing have to be quantifiably good to have an impact? Does a piece of art having something that isn't well made, but that thing still changes the atmosphere of the game in a way that's positive, is that not something to celebrate in a kind of strange way? Doesn't that make this game distinct in the way that's interesting to it? Because its voice acting isn't like generic anime voice acting good, you know?
I'll give you a perfect example. Tulip has many things about it that are objectively, quantifiably not good, and it's had more impact on our lives and the way we see games than like so many competently put together games ever have.
I feel like the arc of my life is that I've just been trying to move away from understanding pieces of art or media as being products that you have to, like a car. Like, what's the performance like?
Yeah.
Like, these things are like products of both their time and of the people who made them, and of your interaction with it, and the impact that these elements have had on you. And that seems like a more important thing to tease out than the textures are good.
Yeah.
Or the voice acting is to a standard that we deem acceptable, you know?
Yeah, I think that's something that I've always secretly felt in my heart, even though I've never really understood it. Because I used to always assume that, like, I have to justify why my favourite game is my favourite game. I have to tell myself that it's unquantifiably good in all regards. And that's not strictly true. I think that many of my favourite games are arguably 7 out of 10s.
That's your favourite refrain. They're always 7 out of 10.
They're always a 7 out of 10. Yeah, because they're always, like, good, but they've got problems.
And then there's Eddie.
We
were supposed to be talking about the characters. But I got distracted by Angela.
But anyway, yeah, so Eddie is a great character. You find him immediately throwing up in a toilet.
Yeah, making awful noises.
And everything he says is him just being like, oh, dude, I didn't do that over there, I swear, that's awful. I don't know what's going on. And then you just leave him alone.
He's like dressed like a child.
Yeah.
Like he's wearing like a baseball cap and like a striped shirt.
Yeah, that's how you know he's a kid, he's got a striped shirt.
Yeah, there you go, yeah. And I think it's just Angela. No, Angela. Laura is the only other character, right?
Yeah, right.
No, wait. Maria.
But isn't that Mary?
Well, that's the question, isn't it?
Yeah.
She's got Mary's face and her voice, apparently.
Yeah.
But she's not Mary.
No, she's got shorter hair. She's dressed like Christina Aguilera. She serves. She serves.
Yeah.
People want to be her. Men want to be with her.
Whoa. I don't want to be Maria.
No.
Do you want to be with Maria?
No.
There you go, then. There you go.
No.
And then there's Laura.
Who's
8.
She's a child.
Yeah.
The main theme of the game is apparently the theme of Laura.
Well, we'll get into it, man.
We'll get... Okay, yeah, there's themes. There's
stuff going on in the story.
It's just, I love that this is the response to, like, everything where we're like, why is this game like that? Is it the themes? Trust me,
Yeah.
bro. No, Laura's just kind of there.
Yeah.
She's
kind of bratty.
She's a menace.
Yeah.
James is like trying to do shit and Laura is constantly getting in the way.
She's the greatest antagonist of the story.
Yeah, she is, but he's not going to do anything about it because she's a fucking kid.
Yeah.
You know? That's kind of it when it comes to characters, unless you want to count monsters, because there's obviously one big important monster, one icon of this game.
Lying figure.
Yeah! Oh, I got stuff to say about Lying Figure, let me fucking tell you.
Tell me about it, bro.
Oh, sure, I mean, if we want to talk about it now. So... because I kind of would go into a tangent about this game being scary.
Spooky, scary game?
It's a survival horror game. Is this scary?
Yeah.
And I think, like, realistically, in many cases, I would say no. I think that this game is probably more of a storytelling experience than it is like
it's a vibe game.
Yeah.
It's an atmosphere game.
It's not trying to make you jump so much as it's trying to kind of immerse you in horror as like a vehicle for storytelling.
Although, you do get people from like the time being like, oh, these games are so scary. It's like, I can't even play it with the lights out, bro. And it's like, really?
Well, I think if you're low on resources and you're struggling to fight through things, there is that beginning sting where, like, you do fear because you fear about losing your progress, you fear about the monsters getting you, you get immersed into feeling like you're in the character in that moment.
I feel like this game more gets under your skin. Like, it's more of an experience than it is about big jumps, you know?
Yeah.
I will say the one thing in its favor in terms of scare factor, though, is that this game is fucking dark. You have a flashlight, and if you turn it off, you can not see shit.
Yeah.
Like, it's just pitch black, which I think is really, really good.
Yeah. That means that monsters will eventually shamble out of the dark towards you, which can really kind of make you jump. There are some really basic, fundamental gameplay concepts that I think really work for fear, and I want to describe one of them in a moment.
Yeah.
But one of them is the idea of an enemy just being there when you didn't expect them to be.
Yeah.
And it's at its best when it doesn't feel like the enemy couldn't have conceivably appeared from anywhere, but rather where you can be like, oh god, it was there the whole time, and it just fucking lurked around, it was hiding somewhere.
Yeah.
And when it can really like trick you into thinking and feeling that way, that's when it can really get you. I think this gets hindered, however, by another iconic part of Silent Hill's visuals and audio, which is the radio that you get.
Yeah.
It's an item that you can equip that plays this kind of staticky noise every time a monster is in a close proximity. But we were playing this for a while, and I remember Dr. White came into the room at one point and started watching, and he made a comment saying, like, he actually finds the radio kind of distracting because it removes any tension of monsters coming for you. Because the radio will chalk up and static up before the monster is even in sight. And I actually agree, we turned off the radio after a while and the game got a lot more tense because we couldn't hear them coming.
I think the counterpoint that people would make is that when the radio starts going off, that's meant to create the fear of, oh god, there's a monster around here somewhere, where could it be? I could go both ways on that, because on one hand, you're right, being surprised by a monster is inherently terrifying, but also on the other hand, I feel a certain kind of fear when you're playing a game when you know there's something there, but you don't know where it is.
Yeah.
And that's a kind of tension that I also think is effective.
Especially when you're playing a good stalker game. But the thing is that the monsters also make sounds.
Yeah.
So you've already got enough cues to be like...
Well, the mannequins are completely silent.
Oh, are they?
Yeah, that's that whole gimmick. They just stand motionless until you approach them.
Oh, okay. But like the lying figure, which I want to talk about now. So the lying figure is the first enemy you encounter in the game. It's this sort of figure that almost looks like it's embracing itself. It's sort of brown and featureless and faceless and wobbles around and sort of staggers about in the streets of Silent Hill. But as the name implies, you can also find it lying down on the streets, and when it does get downed by you when you attack it, it will crawl around on the floor.
And I've always found their wiggling a bit silly.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because they kind of go like, woo, it's a bit doofy to me.
The thing is that there is a bit in this game that really did make me fucking jump. Effectively, James will actually look around if there is an item in the area. His head will be pointing towards it.
Yeah.
Same with enemies as well, just to show that he's naturally responding to the environment. And so I always got lulled into a false sense of security with this, because I thought, okay, if I don't see any enemies, then if he's looking at something, it's probably just like a health drink on the ground. It helps you kind of wade through the muddy visuals. And there was one point where he was just looking underneath this car, and I thought, oh, there's probably a health drink by the tire or something like that. And I pressed the pickup button, and all of a sudden, something just slithered out from underneath that car faster than anything moves in that game at all. And I immediately went, yeah. And
I think that was literally the first time in any of the horror games I'd shown you where you would jump to something.
Yeah. There's only 2 other bits like that during the entire list where I've kind of like jumped like that from playing something. And one of them is from this game. But I think that's a really effective part, and Silent Hill isn't full of those.
No.
They're very few and far between, and the ones they do are really fucking good.
Yeah. I think you can count the number of jump scares in Silent Hill on like a hand.
Yeah.
It does make them effective when they happen. Alright, Connor. Let's get into it.
Oh.
I don't think the gameplay in this game is special. But I actually think that if you have to really like plan out your strategy and you have to approach enemies with a kind of a level of thought that allows you to neutralize them, I think it would actually detract from like the 4-hour story experience that you get in this game. Because this game basically offers you no friction, which allows you to just move through it at such a good pace that you're always going to a new level, you're always seeing new things, you're never being bogged down by like, I can't beat this crazy boss, bro.
Yeah.
You just go through it. And it can kind of suck you into the entire experience as a cohesive whole.
Yeah.
And it kind of avoids the problem of video games where it's like, okay, you have to have narrative and you have to have structure, but also you have to fight 50 guys.
Yeah, there's enough obstacles to make it feel like there is a threat of losing, but we didn't die once when we played this.
I don't know if I've ever died playing Silent Hill 2. It's very difficult.
Yeah.
I think that, for me, paradoxically, I think that lets me immerse myself in the story and the atmosphere more. I've been playing Silent Hill F recently, which is the most recently released Silent Hill game. That game has more of an emphasis on melee as the core combat system. It's got parries.
Yeah.
Which is okay, great. And I actually find that the enemies frustrate me because they keep killing me in these fights, and it means I have to keep replaying the same section over and over again. And it kind of detracts from the atmosphere because you get tired of it.
Yeah.
Whereas Silent Hill being so easy, or Silent Hill 2 being so easy, makes it like a film. In that you just go through it and you get to experience it at the pace in which it was made.
Yeah.
And to me, I actually think that works for this game. I don't think you could do that with every game because it would be boring. But I think the experience and the atmosphere and the story of Silent Hill 2 is strong enough that you could have a game that doesn't really give you much challenge because the experience is the point.
Yeah, that's fair. So what you're saying is that Dark Souls should have an easy mode.
And that's our show, folks.
No, that's fair. I mean, God, that's probably why people are like scrambling to try and make like a Silent Hill 2 film now, aren't they?
Return to Silent Hill by Christoph Gans.
Oh, yeah. But that's kind of the enemies, that's the gameplay. I don't really know if there's much else to really talk about other than, like, the fucking map.
Oh, that map, baby. It's a good map. It's a good map. It blinds you when you open it.
Oh, when we were playing in the dark.
Yeah, every time you open the map, it, like, flashes white, and you guys are just like, oh.
Do you know what's kind of strange about a game called Silent Hill, Ash?
Is that there's noise in it.
Oh, not just any noise. It's noise you remember. Yeah. Good noise. Good.
I mean, I wouldn't even say there's that many hills.
No, it's actually quite flat.
It is very flat, yeah.
You kind of... There's some verticality to, like, your traversal.
Also the town, though.
No.
The buildings, yeah, but not the town itself.
It's kind of hard to build a town on a hill. Maybe they named it after a nearby hill.
Yeah, perhaps, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not really what they call American towns, is it?
No.
Things like Silent Hill.
It should be called Ipswich. Or Hull.
It should be called Ipswich.
Because that's what they always do. They just call every town, like, somewhere in Europe.
But that means this game would be called Ipswich too. And then you'd get Ipswich Shattered Memories. Ipswich for the room.
I want to talk about the soundtrack.
Lay it on me.
The beatin' bammin' biggity bap boop bam tunes from Akira Toriyama. Wait, that's not his name.
Fuck. Akira Yamaoka.
Yeah. Toriyama is the Dragon Ball man.
Yeah, he did not do the music for this.
He did
that
not.
Would be different.
Could you imagine?
Yeah. So I actually think the music is a really good anchoring point for like the way I feel about this game, because this music is incredibly idiosyncratic.
Yeah.
Like, this is obviously the work of a guy who's got some ideas in that little head of his.
Yeah.
You get the kind of music that you'd expect. You'd kind of get the ethereal, distant, high-note spookiness of things like forest or white noise and tracks like that. You get the industrial nightmare grinding of things like Black Fairy and Betrayal. But then you also get some fucking banging rock songs.
Yeah.
Just some like industrial grunge rock that he just puts in there because he likes doing it.
Yeah. I mean, I always get the impression, especially once you get to Silent Hill 3, it's kind of what he would rather be doing than making than banging together two fucking kitchen appliances and just being like, well, that's a beat.
It's like when the monster designer kept talking about how he drew pictures of the Silent Hill 3 monster killing Pyramid Head. He was tired of drawing Pyramid Head.
I fucking hate Pyramid Head. Here's my cooler guy. Wasn't that part of the pitch for Silent Hill 5? Was that they were like, one, it's going to be in daylight, and two, here's a sick picture of Valtiel stabbing Pyramid Head.
It's so funny that apparently the pitch for Silent Hill 5 was about it being in daylight, because that's also the pitch for RE5.
Oh, really?
It's horror in daylight. Everyone was like, I'm sick of the night. I've been waiting for the night for years now. Get him out of here.
There was a corporate spy that was taking notes and was like, guys, hold on a minute.
Yeah, the music in this game is incredible.
I know. I love it to pieces. I wouldn't say this is top 5 for soundtracks, but this is top 10.
Top
easily.
6 at least.
Probably top 6 actually, yeah. No, that's true. It's just behind
What's 5?
Oh my god. I mean, that's the thing.
Is it Tomodachi Life?
Well, I've got a number 1, and then everything afterwards can be anywhere between 2 and 5, depending on how I'm feeling.
What's number 1?
Number 1's Ridge Racer Type 4.
Oh yeah,
no
of course.
doubt.
How can I be foolish?
The other ones would be Halo 2, Undertale, Payday 2, and Shin Megami Tensei 4.
Really?
Yeah.
SMT4.
It's fucking incredible tracks. You joking?
So good at music, bro.
You're so good at music?
Yeah.
You made that? That was you?
Well, I brought it to you, which is basically the same as far as you're concerned.
Oh, well,
I don't give a fuck about Crash Bandicoot's beep and bops. I'm like, get that guy out of here.
Crash 2's pretty good. Crash 2 and 3, they got good music.
They do. Crash 1, bullshit.
Crash 1's it's very ambient. It's it's fine. It ain't getting nominated for Best Soundtrack this year.
Well, don't speak too soon, man.
No, I guess not.
Yeah.
No, I can't jump the gun.
What else are we going to do? Fatal Frame 2's Drowning Woman?
Best original song.
Yeah.
There we go.
That Lost Planet 2 song that goes dun, dun, do, 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 do.
That's disaster.
It was a disaster, you're right.
Whoa. Bwomp, bwomp. I've gotten a lot of mileage out of listening to tracks as you mentioned, White Noise and Forest as really good examples. But I also like A World of Madness, Fanata and Mystic Air,
Alone in the Town.
Alone in the Town's pretty good. Pizza and Bowling, I kind of think it's fun. Magdalene's very somber when it needs to be. Love Psalm is great. Psionic Fairy Tale. I also just there's one that's just called Ordinary Vanity.
Yes, Ordinary Vanity.
I just love that name.
Mm.
It's a great name for the scene that it's scoring over, but it's also just wow, that's sometimes it might seem very silly to be oh great, you glue 2 fucking words together, but it's no, but that's the power of them. You pick 2 great words and you mush them together and you get a really resident name like Silent Hill.
I honestly get that from Terror in the Depths of Fog.
Yeah.
I think it's it sounds weird enough to be memorable, but also it implies something that's cool. It's got a power to it that I think is really cool.
Yeah. But then of course there are the 2 most important words stuck together in this soundtrack. Block Mind. Ooh!
Yeah, when Block Mind comes in the club, me kind of rock up.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm throwing it down. I'm breaking it down. Don't know what's happening, but whatever it is, it's down, alright? So long as Block Mind is up there. You might have listened to the soundtrack before and you'll be like, what? Fucking Block Mind? What are you talking about? That's the joke. It's called Block Mind.
Just say Block Mind to yourself a few times.
It's just a very funny name.
Hey, you guys, treat yourself. Say Block Mind.
I think my personal favorite on the soundtrack, though, would actually be one of the ambient tracks called The Day of Night. It's very simple, but I really, really like it. It almost feels like a slowed down bell noise.
Yeah.
It's scoring this drone before it turns into these sort of light bells, the top end of a xylophone or something like that. It's making these beautiful sort of twinkling sounds and the like. And it's to me, it's the most atmospheric track in the game. To me, that's what I associate the entire sort of soundscape of this game with.
I really, really like Alone in the Town. I think to me, Alone in the Town is kind of a synthesis of all the freestyles of this game's music.
Okay.
Because it has that kind of ethereal, distance at the start where it's this kind of like heavenly, but it's very soft and very delicate, and then like this like drum and bass line kicks in and it kind of builds up to this kind of tension, this kind of mysterious aura to it that I think is really compelling.
Yeah.
Like it's got the grime, it's got the etherealness, it's got the rock elements. I think it captures the entire soundtrack, and I love that track so much.
That's a good point, actually.
But most of them are good though. They're all pretty damn great.
It's a killer soundtrack. I think more specific tracks we might want to talk about when we talk about their moments in the story.
Yeah.
Where they kind of are at their most resonant. Because the rock songs you mentioned, most of those you hear in like endings.
Yeah. But those are the songs like Love Overdose, Angels Thanatos.
Yeah.
Angels Thanatos. What a banger, what a classic.
The Reverse Will.
The Reverse Will. Yeah. I mean, Theme of Laura and Promise as well.
Yeah,
like,
true.
Those kind of come more towards the credits or in the game's trailers and things like that.
Promise Reprise. It's very funny Promise Reprise plays in the game, but Promise appears like as an ending. Impact is important. Where like songs can create impact, but they can also lose their impact if you overuse them. And Silent Hill 2 does not do that. It knows when
once again, it's a very linear, directed experience, so the music is played exactly when they want to play it, which I think it really works in its favour.
No, I fully agree.
You only really hear like 10 seconds of Terror in the Depths of Fog in the game. Like it doesn't play for very long at all.
Yeah.
But it still has that impact because it's used at the exact right moment when they need it to be used.
Yeah. Speaking of impactful, Ash.
Yeah?
Do we want to talk about Silent Hill 2's story?
I would love to talk about this game's story, Connor.
Good.
This is kind of what this game is all about.
Yes.
Is that narrative.
That is the draw, isn't it?
I wonder how many people in our audience, of all 12 of them, what percentage of them don't know the twist in this game.
I genuinely think it's single digits. The way that this game ends and the main sort of draw of its narrative and what kind of brings it all together is something that has been spoilt so often on the internet. It's become ubiquitous as the game. Some people describe Silent Hill 2 as the game where that happens.
Yeah.
Right? And that's a damn shame. It kind of does a slight injustice to it. Everyone who knows about Psycho knows about its most impactful scene.
Yeah.
Where the murder happens, right? And it's like, there would have been an experience of that film if like nobody knew about it.
Well, I feel like in gaming it's comparable to Aerith dying in FF7.
Oh,
like
true,
you can't not know that these days.
Some people genuinely don't, and that's what gives me hope that maybe there's someone out there who has not played Silent Hill 2 yet.
So before we talk about this game's story, let's just be serious about it for a second and say we would recommend this game to anyone. We think this is a game that's totally worth playing, and if you are able to, please do so.
Yeah.
So if you want to do that and you don't know much about this game's story, like even if you know the twist, there's still a great fully featured narrative and world and character arcs around that twist that are just as worth seeing as that particular part of the story.
Yeah.
So even if you want to skip out on this story section and just end the podcast here, fair enough.
Yeah.
Please do play this game if you want to go play it, because it is definitely worth it.
Yeah, otherwise you can, like, maybe we'll have, like, a recording of, like, a timestamp here if you're just listening to this. Maybe it'll be on screen, or you can just use the little YouTube navigational thing, the little timestamps at the bottom of the bar.
You know there's no shot that we're not going to reference it in a jokey way after we've done the story section.
I know.
That's always the risk.
That's a fair point.
Yeah.
This is a game we'd recommend. Might be better
maybe after Tulip? Like, play Tulip first,
play
then come on to this?
Yeah, Tulip and then this.
We should put out a list that's like the games in the sequence we think you should play them in.
And it should be the most like batshit roller coaster. Of
you gotta play K first.
Yeah. Silent Hill 2's story. Ash, you might have to be the leader of this, because as much as I can like tell you what I remember of Silent Hill 2's story, I won't do it as much justice as you.
Okay, so like the impetus of this game, or kind of like the guiding light, is obviously James's desire to be reunited with Mary.
Mm-hmm.
However, in her note or her letter to James, all she says is that she's waiting for you in our special place. She does not specify where the special place is, but our boy James does have a guess. He believes that the special place is Rosewater Park, a beautiful park on the seafront of Silent Hill, where you could look out over the lake, which is called Lake Toluca, by the way, for anyone who's curious.
Lake Toluca.
Where they spent many days gazing lovingly into each other's eyes, chasing each other down the beach, whatever it is you do as a couple, I wouldn't know. So to do this, the first kind of like little area of the game is trying to get to the park.
Yeah.
However, one of the most misfortunate parts of Silent Hill is that it doesn't seem to have a very good road safety commission going on, because many of the roads just crumble into endless abysses.
Yeah, it
really affects traffic flow, you know?
It's a real issue in some parts of the country, which is understandable, you know.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's budget cuts and, you know, as a result, James has to find his own way around. Like,
I do want to say, just before we move on to the first actual, like, zone, the game does start with James, like, on this, like, overlook and a forest path leading into town.
Yeah.
And then the game is just content to make you walk down a forest path for, like, 10 minutes. Where, like, nothing's happening, and I kind of love that.
Well, I think that's kind of good for the tension in your first playthrough, because you spend that entire time thinking something's going to come out of those fucking woods, man.
And it is playing, like, spooky noises. Like, you can hear things splashing in the distance. There's, like, a second set of footprints behind your own that implies something's chasing you.
Yeah.
But nothing happens on the forest path.
Yeah, like, there's also, like, a slight droning sound.
It's
quite good.
Love a good droning sound in these games.
Yeah. That's actually where you end up later going to that graveyard where you find Angela. And that graveyard is going to be important later. But as it stands, after going through the graveyard, you end up in the town, as you say, and the route to Rosewater Park is not as straightforward as James once thought.
And, like, as a new player and as James the character, you don't think anything strange is going on at this point. Like, you spoke to Angela and she seemed a bit off, but, you know, that's whatever, that's fine. But when you get to the town itself, the streets are completely empty. The path ahead is completely obscured by this persistent fog, and there are strange noises and sounds shuffling through the night.
Yeah, you actually see something kind of shambling along in the distance into the fog, including the little splatters of something dark and viscous lying on the floor.
This is when you begin to find, like, blood everywhere, leading you down to where you fight your first monster, your very first lying figure.
Yeah, in that, like, that little sort of, like, area underneath what looks like a bridge, where you're kind of, like, stuck in there for a while. You kind of have to learn how to, like, hit this thing.
Well, it is quite a complex battle system. Requires the use of 2 buttons.
Oh, yeah. It's like, what, hold down R2 and press X to whack
James is just like, bonk, bonk. Well, that's where you get the radio as well.
Oh, true, yeah.
And there's, like, a voice, like a broken voice playing through the radio that you can't quite figure out what it's saying.
Does James think it's Mary?
He doesn't think it's Mary. It is Mary.
Oh.
You do hear her full dialogue later. She's basically saying, come to the hotel and stuff like that. But she's like, where are you, James? I'm waiting for you.
Yeah.
But it's all very disconnected at this point in the story.
No, that makes sense. Generally, most other ways to kind of get around Silent Hill, like, just seem to be blocked off arbitrarily, like, either by those crumbling roads, or sometimes these massive walls of, like, tarp.
Yeah.
That just seem to be blocking it. And the place starts to, like, unravel as somewhere that really doesn't make sense, you know?
It very quickly becomes evident that this is not like Resident Evil, where it's like they've gone to the spooky mansion. Like, this makes no actual sense.
Yeah.
This is a populated town with no one in it, surrounded by monsters, enveloped in this thick fog. Like, it's very clear from the start that there's something supernatural is happening.
Yeah, there's like the occasional body here and there, but, like, there's nothing to imply that, like, are the monsters the residents here?
Yeah,
like,
it's not like you find a note where it's like, Day 15, we're holding out against the monsters, but they're breaking through our walls.
Yeah.
You know? Like, it's never really clear if there are other people being haunted by these things, or it's just happening to you specifically.
Yeah. It's almost like those details aren't important to James. Yeah.
Someone's got a theory over that.
I do have a theory. I think that James, like, is kind of, like, single-minded, frankly. And I think that while these things are happening to him, while he responds to them with revulsion and horror, I don't think he's that bothered by the idea of anyone else in this town.
Well, he definitely doesn't care about the monsters, because Angela straight up tells him it's dangerous, and he says he doesn't care.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to town either way.
It's like, whatever.
Find
man.
that wife, you know?
Yeah, so he'll fight through him if he has to.
So his quest to get him to the park eventually brings him to the apartment building that is named.
Yeah. It's an apartment building.
It's an apartment building.
I always just refer to it as the apartments. That ends up being your first port of call to go inside of it, and the apartments are pitch black. There is a map inside of them, you know, like, so you can try and navigate your way around, but many of the residents have been, you know, appropriately locking their doors.
Or breaking the locks on their doors.
Yeah, so that you just can't do fucking anything with them, really. Yeah. And the apartments is a strange one, because I think that out of the 4 main environments in this game, it's probably the least interesting, and it's the one...
there's no probably about it. They are the least interesting by quite a mile.
Yeah, they have the least connection to anything in the story. Like, things happen in the apartments, but there's nothing super thematic about them.
I mean, I think it's a good little level because the puzzles are quite fun. You do meet a lot of characters or have further interactions with characters that begin to set up their further arcs.
Yeah.
And there is an incredible sick battle at the end in which you face off in the most thrilling, blood-pumping duel of all time. So we'll get to that, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Like, the apartments don't even have an otherworld.
No.
Which for anyone who's not familiar with Silent Hill as a concept, the horror kind of comes in which there's like an otherworld leaking into our own. So levels will always have like a normal version and then an alternate otherworld version where things get more messed up.
Ooh.
So like in Silent Hill 1, it was always like things would become more rusty, more covered in blood, more gross and vile and things like that. Whereas in Silent Hill 2, they always become more dirty, more decayed, more rotting. That's kind of like the aesthetic they're going for there.
Grime and mold are kind of the name of the game.
And like in later games, the other world would be like everything freezes over or becomes icy and stuff like that. It's always like the world being infected by the themes, I guess.
Yeah.
Which is always kind of cool. That's like the kind of appeal about it. And the apartments doesn't have another world. It's just the apartments.
Yeah, I think for the reasons I mentioned a little earlier about, like, the locale of Silent Hill as a town.
Yeah.
I think that kind of is why I'm oddly fond of the apartments. Like, they feel, once you're actually able to enter an apartment and you're not just going through the
black hallways,
boring, like, you have the cramped little kitchen and those cupboards and the fucking, like, the furniture.
Like the butterfly room and places like that. Like the clock room and things.
Yeah, the place feels dated even for the time that the game was made. And, like, it kind of feels like Silent Hill 2 sits in a nebulous zone of time where you're not really sure when it's supposed to be set.
Like Tulip.
The sister game to Tulip, Silent Hill 2. I guarantee you, Tulip took a lot of notes from it.
Yeah.
But
like fucking Yoshio Kimura was playing Silent Hill 2 in 2001 being like, fuck.
Shit, they've taken all of our ideas. Oh, God. Change everything, make it about kissing. There's also stuff like the hollowed out like swimming pool and like the courtyard outside where there's no water in it at all. And we just have a bunch of lying figures fucking like
and you've got to get an item from a pram that's down there.
Yeah.
That's tough.
I do like the reveal of the mannequin, which is the legs figure, isn't it?
Yeah. So when you come into the apartment for the first time, you do not have a flashlight. James didn't think to bring one. And you actually can't interact with things in dark rooms without a light. So James will say it's too dark to do anything in here. So you are required to go into this room, find a flashlight, which it's cool because the interplay between light and dark in this game is very striking.
Yeah.
Like when you're in a dark area, it's fucking dark, and when the light is on, it's like piercing through it.
Yeah.
So you're going through all these dark rooms before you finally find the room with the torch in it. As you go into it, the camera is facing towards the wall, the flashlight is facing towards, so you see the light collecting on the back of the wall, and then you go into the room and it cuts to where the light is coming from, and it's from a pocket flashlight that's attached to a mannequin. And the mannequin's wearing your wife's clothes.
Oh.
Yeah, she's wearing the clothes that Mary wears in the cutscenes you see her in.
Yeah, it's a pretty neat detail.
Yeah.
And then, like, once you actually pick that up from there, that's when this, like, four-legged figure kind of, like, emerges from the dark.
It's lying on a sofa.
Oh, is it? Yeah.
It's like, you woke me up, bro.
Like, oh, don't go after my clothes.
Take my flashlight.
I need that flashlight. I can't see without it. The creature has no eyes. I think it's a really good locale and level for like setting up something that is familiar and in another light would have been kind of cozy because it is a set of homes, it's supposed to replicate somewhere people would live, but it is in this sort of this very dark and kind of disturbing sort of context. Like it makes me think of being in a house by yourself for a long time.
Yeah.
Where any small sound makes you kind of like worried, and like leaving too many lights off in your apartment or your house or whatever kind of makes you worried that something might be in there.
And there's no OST associated with the apartments. It's entirely quiet while you're in there.
Yeah.
But there are very many ambient noises of people whispering or doors being closed or creaking and groaning and things like that.
Yeah. I'm just sort of thinking about the two moments with the bars that like block some of the ways in the apartments. One of them is great. It's the reveal of like the sort of like your lead villain.
Your nemesis.
Damn
you, Pyramid Head.
Yeah. You go to get something in the apartments and you just see Pyramid Head just standing behind these bars, just looking at you dead ahead. And it's not named.
Yeah.
You never even know that it's called Pyramid Head. It's not called that throughout the game. It's
in the game, it's called that red pyramid thing.
Yeah.
What's great about it as well is that he's like being enveloped in this really harsh red light, and the room is so dark that you don't see him until you're really close to the door.
Yeah.
And I think it says everything about the horror of this game and the restraint of the developers, that it's like primary villain, the kind of like poster child for Silent Hill is like a franchise for all time now. His first appearance, he's just standing there neutrally.
Yeah.
The game doesn't draw attention to him. He's just there watching you.
And like that's an approach to like a monster reveal or like villain reveal that can be goofy in some contexts but can be fucking really effective in others.
Because like up until this point the two monsters have been some mannequin legs glued together and a little wiggly guy. And then you go down this corridor and suddenly there's this massive man with a huge pyramid adorned to his head, just standing completely silently watching you. It's difficult to, like, imagine a pre-Pyramid Head world where, like, you don't know about Pyramid Head, so him just showing up is like, whoa.
You're like, oh, okay.
What's that guy about?
I mean, there's then the cutscene that happens, like, a little way afterward, where you go into an apartment. This is when it's the first time you go and find a gun, actually, and you see Pyramid Head is in the kitchen doing something to the leg creatures.
People say that he's, like, assaulting them in that kind of way, but it's very unclear.
Yeah.
He's just kind of like holding them against a counter and doing something strange to them and making this kind of horrible like noise as he's doing it.
Yeah, and James just like takes one look at that and just immediately goes and hides in the cupboard because he's like, no fucking way, bro.
And he actually like loses his nerve and starts shooting Pyramid Head.
Yeah, he finds the gun in the closet.
No.
Oh.
You find the gun on the third floor in a shopping trolley.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, in this apartment where all the walls are littered with gun marks. And you find the gun in the shopping trolley in the center.
Oh, okay. But yeah, no, he does, as you say, he loses his cool, unloads an entire, like, magazine of bullets into the thing, and then you don't even see what happens, you just see the perspective of James in the cupboard looking out to see what's going on, until you get control again of the game.
It's weird. This is another thing that makes this game so interesting, is that Pyramid Head, like, knows you're in there because you have shot him.
Yeah.
But he just does this weird dance. Like, he starts, like, moving his arm around in this weird, like, Mexican wave motion, while his other hand is grabbing onto his helmet.
Yeah.
And then he just leaves, and James is like, oh.
Yeah, like, oh, fucking hell,
Yeah.
okay. It is kind of, like, interesting. Like, what you say about how Pyramid Head's kind of, like, assaulting the creatures, that is kind of my interpretation, too.
Yeah.
I think that is what he's doing. And to paraphrase a YouTube video on Silent Hill 2 that I really did enjoy, something that is kind of interesting about Silent Hill 2's depiction of the town and the monsters is that they very clearly have urges other than just going after you.
Yeah.
And that's deeply unsettling in a way where it's like, oh, these things are, they're alive.
Yeah.
They're not just there to go bleh at you. They're like, oh.
Pyramid Head's so strong for that.
He's so strong.
His presence is so effective in those apartments.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were joking. Like, oh, dude, he was so strong and brave for going out there. And
I couldn't be like that. So the apartments is also where you meet Laura and Eddie for the first time.
Yeah.
Laura endears herself to you very quickly by... so James is trying to reach a key on the other side of some bars.
Yeah,
and he's really straining for it, going for it. And then Laura fucking steps on his hand and kicks the key away.
Yeah.
And is like, I fucking punked you, bitch, and runs out of there.
So he has to find another way around.
Yeah. And then Eddie... He's in one of the apartments, and you can hear him retching and vomiting in a different room. And then, like, in the kitchen of this apartment, there's, like, a fridge with a door open, and like, coming out of the fridge is a dead body. Although it's really funny, because you look at it, and James goes, oh my god, who could have done this? After having fought 17, evil monsters and a giant Pyramid Head guy. He's like, who could it be?
Ugh. That's when Ordinary Vanity plays, is when you have, like, Eddie fucking vomiting in the toilet. And his way of responding to James is, like, really suspicious. Where he's just constantly saying, like, I didn't do it.
Yeah.
There's another bit I really enjoy, which is how James gets around the bars, where he effectively has to open a door and jump from one apartment building to the other.
Yeah, you have to get a fire escape key, and then he opens the door and the fire escape's been knocked down by another building. Yeah. So we just have to jump into the other apartment building.
There's a lot of little environments there that I really like, such as the balcony, and which is part of some of those apartments that you can actually see the outside from where it isn't pitch black, but the papers have been boarded up with paper and stuff like that. It's
got the first instances of one of the most important parts of James's character, which is that he doesn't care about what happens to himself.
The motherfucking toilet.
Yeah.
The toilet scene where there's just a toilet full of gunk, and James is like, something's blocking the toilet. Just reaches in his entire hand into it.
James is like, I'll be there no matter what. There's also the green hole in the butterfly room.
Yeah.
Where you've got to reach your hand into it, and James is just like, sign me up, sailor.
All right,
get me in there.
I'm doing it. Ain't even gonna look.
But James is very reckless, let's say. He doesn't really let worries for his safety affect him from doing anything in the world.
Yeah. There's a couple puzzles. The puzzle with the coins, where it's got like the old man and the serpent and the lady on it.
It's the old man, the prisoner, and the serpent.
Yeah. And you kind of have to arrange them in a certain order where you're told, like, the old man is not next to this person, and the serpent
and, like, the wind plays behind the serpent, so it's empty and stuff like that.
Yeah, like all these things to kind of give you a hint on.
It's a good riddle.
I like it a lot. I think it's a good puzzle. The puzzle I'm less keen on is the one where there is a
You're a loser.
What?
You don't respect the orange juice puzzle, then you and I are so done.
You find a blocked garbage chute, and you're like, well, there's no way I could potentially block this up. Wait, no, I specifically need a box full of orange juice.
Yeah, I found 6 cans of Fanta. I'm saved.
A time to chuck that down there so I can get one of the coins, and it's like, that's a silly one. That's adventure game logic.
You're just not a man of the arts.
I just don't think... I think about drinking orange juice, not chucking it in the bin, because I'm not wasteful. I was not raised like that.
Your mother's like, Connor, are you throwing away that Fanta again? Try, okay?
Come on.
Give me a break.
But then there is the scene where you find Laura? Angela.
Angela Oresco.
Angela Oresco, what a name.
Angela's taken a turn.
Yeah.
From your last encounter, where she was friendly but weird. So, to find the last coin that you need, which I believe is the prisoner, you have to go into the last apartment that is available to you and enter into its kind of bedroom, I suppose, which features like a full wall mirror. And lying on the ground with a knife stabbed into the ground is Angela, who is now speaking with a much more despondent, like, oh, it's you kind of voice. You then have this conversation with Angela where James is like, my friend is having a meltdown and I'm not a therapist, so I'm going to give it a go. But where he's like, so did you find your mother? And she's like, no. And he's like, well, she's in this town, right? And she's like, how do you know that? And he's like, I just guessed. And she's like, no. And then he kind of brings up the topic of like, Angela, what's going on with that knife? And she's like, oh, you know. And he tries to take it from her, and she's like, okay. And then James kind of goes towards her, and she suddenly like screams like, no, and tries to thrust him with the knife before putting it down and running away. And I believe that's when Promise Reprise plays, right?
That is where Promise Reprise plays.
Yeah. It's a great scene.
It's a really good scene. It's very impactful because it's very dark. It's very heavy.
And like, there are CGI cutscenes, but there's never a full scene in CGI. It will always cut between it.
Yeah.
So it'll be like one shot will be in the character models, and then one shot will be in CG. But like the CG of like Angela leaning against the floor with the knife plunged into the ground, being reflected in this big mirror, is very, very like affecting and impactful.
I guess people can read it into very different ways.
Yeah.
But I think that Angela clearly does not trust herself with this weapon.
Yeah.
But at the same time, she does not trust anyone to, like, take that from her, especially someone like James. But then, I think that's kind of the main story beat before you get into the epic boss battle that you do.
Yeah, when, you know, One Winged Angel starts playing, it's like you start doing your cross counters and shit like that.
Yeah, it's really wacky. No, you go into a room with some water in it, and
it's like a stairway.
Yeah, Pyramid Head is in there.
Up to his old tricks.
Where he slowly walks towards you. And
then the battle begins.
Yeah. Which, I think battle is maybe
So what happens is that Pyramid Head will slowly walk towards you and then hit you very slowly. And you run from one corner of the room to the other, wait for him to come up to you, and then run to the other corner again. You do this for 10 minutes and then he leaves.
I think I can see the intention of the scene. It's to have a conflict with this character as a villain without it necessarily being like a video gamey, you gotta beat him in a fight. Because, like, it's not necessarily about actually, like, killing him because you can't. No, it's kind of just more of a survival challenge. It's just, and not a particularly thrilling one. It's just, go into one corner, he'll go up to you, he'll try to slash you, go into the other corner, repeat for like 5 minutes, then a siren will go off, Pyramid Head will walk down the stairs into the water, he will then be gone, the water will drain.
What's great about it though is that if you go near him while he's walking away, he'll hit you.
Yeah, he will. I think like when I tried to replay the game a second time, that happened to me. And I was like, oh, come on.
So I'm going to go back to my argument that I was talking about earlier, where, okay, on the face of it, this is not a good fight. This is not a fun battle. There's no strategy to it. It's completely pointless. I fucking love that, though. Because to me, this is like the most outsider art of we're going to have a boss fight in our game where it fucking sucks. Where it's just like, you're fighting Pyramid Head and he just leaves after a while. Like, I kind of low-key love that, even though I can acknowledge it's not objectively good, but I think it's so part of the fabric of this game's weird vibe that I kind of dig it.
Fair, yeah.
It's like the narrative or the mechanical expression of that point I was making earlier, which is that I like that this game gives you no friction because it allows it to be just an experience.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like if it was like a sick-ass boss fight where Pyramid Head was like, throwing boulders and you had to dodge them and get out of the way, that would have been too gamey for me in a weird way.
Yeah, I don't think this is a fight that required like a health bar to appear at the bottom of the screen and to have like that kind of... and
start
like
fat rolling around him.
Yeah, and have an actual like gamey element to it. But at the same time, I do kind of like think to myself like, this is probably a scene that could have been cut, but at the same time, if I did that, if you did cut it, something else later in the game would lose some impact, and it's like, Silent Hill 2, not to jump to something that sounds like a conclusion too quickly, Silent Hill 2 is made up of many smaller parts that make it this like really compelling whole, and many of those parts are rotten.
Yeah.
Like, they are bits that aren't good, but trust me, bro, it makes it better. Like, that's kind of like part of why it works in a weird way. And I think that's something you could translate over into a lot of survival horror, to be fair.
Yeah.
But especially Silent Hill 2.
In the remake, it's much more dramatic.
Oh, really?
You're fighting him in this big, like, foyer outside the apartment, and it's, like, raining, and Pyramid Head's breaking all these big boulders around you. And I think it's stupid, but no one agrees with me, so...
Yeah.
They hated me because I was right, but... Because I liked it more when you just ran around him in a big circle for a bit.
Yeah.
And that makes me the loser.
I don't know what camp I'm really in. I mean, I'm in camp, I don't like it, but I have to go along with it, I think. But either way.
Thus ends the apartments.
We're out of the apartments. Oh my god, you're like, why have you spent so long talking about the fucking apartments? It's not even the cool bit. It doesn't even have the titty nurses in it.
Talk about the historical society.
That's the cool bit, come on, guys.
Well, no, now we're in Silent Hill Open World Part 2.
Yeah.
When you see that hill, you can be silent there.
You go down a little, like, street at first,
you do,
like, leaving
and
the
you
apartment.
encounter your girl Laura.
Yeah.
She's sitting on a little wall, and she's like, boop, 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 boop.
Yeah.
And James is like, you son of a bitch!
I feel like James asks her, like, a really honest question, and she just goes, I don't know. She's just fucking with him the whole time.
Yeah.
And
Well, she's like reading a letter, and James goes, what's that letter? And she goes, none of your business.
yeah. And then eventually she just hops off the wall and says, Mary didn't love you anyway. And he's like, wait, how did you know her name?
Get back here, little girl!
So James immediately goes after her.
Yeah. But you reach Rosewater Park.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And waiting for you is Mary?
Nah, it's Mary, but she's sexy, bro.
Oh.
She's wearing a miniskirt.
Wow, she really recovered well.
And you can see her belly.
But she claims that she's not Mary. Well, she kind of claims she's not
very
Mary.
ambiguous about it. She's very vague.
She goes, my name is Maria. And it's
well,
like...
she's like, I look like this Mary, don't I? Like, I could replace her for you.
And bold strategy to pick up someone, really.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I might look like your dead wife, but trust me,
it's got that real heavy rain, don't worry, we can make another one. But then James, he makes a motion to leave, and Maria's like, what the fuck? You see what's going on around here?
He's
and
like,
James is really like, well, I guess, because it's true, but...
James looking at his arm covered in shit, and the scratch wounds from Pyramid Head's knife and shit, and he's like, yeah.
But then you have a companion.
You do.
You've got your very own Maria.
She doesn't really do much. She just kind of follows you around.
Well, that's just life, bro.
Yeah. It's also incredibly easy to outpace her.
She can die as well.
She can also die. She's vulnerable to monster death. But I'm pretty sure you game over if she dies, right?
Yeah. No, the game doesn't continue. It's all well, fuck.
Maria, let's run.
You can shoot her as well.
Yes, you can.
Yeah.
So this was really funny because on my second playthrough I got to that point. And our artist Sen was in the room. This was back when I lived with him. And I said, look, I found Maria. And Sen said, kill her. And I went, yeah, right. And I picked up the gun and shot her. And I lost genuinely an hour of progress.
Turns out people die when you kill them. Connor learned that to his own horror.
The worst part about it as well was my copy of Silent Hill 2. When it gets to the cutscene of you meeting Maria in the park, it crashes. I have to skip that cutscene as soon as it appears, otherwise I can't play the rest of the game.
So anyway, you're now wandering around with Maria.
Yeah.
And your travels... So James determines that the park is not the special place that he's being directed to go to because he didn't find Mary there. He found sexy Mary.
Ooh.
So he decides that... Well, it's actually quite funny because he decides that the hotel they stayed at must be their special place.
Yeah.
And when he says that to Maria, she's like, the hotel? I bet that was your special place, you old dog. you were getting some action down there, weren't you?
But you end up going to this bowling alley, right?
That's so stupid because you're going to the bowling alley and you click on it and Maria goes, "Now I'll stay out here. I fucking hate bowling."
Going in there where you overhear Laura talking to Eddie.
Yeah.
And then
she's being a jerk to him as well.
Yeah, so it's good to know you're not the only one.
Yeah.
She scarpers off.
Scarpers off.
And then you go to Eddie and be like, "Hey, why are you letting her run around this town full of monsters like by herself?" And he's just like, well, she said she would be okay.
Yeah. She pinky promised, bro.
And that's when because Eddie's eating a pizza, right? Presumably a fresh piping hot pizza. Where'd he get it from?
Never clear.
Never clear. Did he make it himself in the bowling alley? Was it just cold pizza left in the fridge that he reheated?
We'll never get those answers.
So you get the impression that Eddie is maybe not a reliable guy. No, especially when it comes to the safety of children.
Yeah.
Children he doesn't know, but still children. You end up just being like, oh, fucking fine, whatever. And try to go after Laura. And Maria goes like, "Oh yeah, I saw her go over in that direction."
Well, it's funny. Maria's like, "I tried to follow her, but I couldn't keep up." That's embarrassing for you, Maria. Like, she is wearing heels and a miniskirt, so maybe she was waddling like.
Yeah. Whereas Laura is like a professional athlete.
Yeah,
as we know. She did junior league 100-meter sprint.
Yeah.
Maria's like, "Don't worry, I got a shortcut. I got a way to get to her real quick."
Well, Maria's very. We can't leave Laura behind. We have to go find her. Like it's not safe for her here.
Yeah, which is, a virtue. There you go. That's nice of her to do so. She, lock picks this, door and ends up...
the weirdest cutscene of all time. Because she keeps, James is, looking at her and she's, "I gotta get this lockpick out from my boobs." And then she tries that and it doesn't work. So she gets one out from, underneath her skirt or something like that. Something weird going on. And she's being very flirtatious and James is just like, "Ooh."
I believe Maria has no keys to any houses. I believe she just has different lockpicks to
get
into every place.
Because it's I don't know what's going on there. It's very confusing.
But it leads you into a strip club, and Maria seems kind of embarrassed that she knows how to get in.
Yeah.
But it's not really an area you linger on. It's a single room.
There's not much in Heaven's Night, which is what it's called.
Yeah, and it has its own track and everything.
Which is called Heaven's Night.
Heaven's Night. But you leave Heaven's Night and you go into where you believe Laura has helped into I think it's called the
Brookhaven Hospital.
Brookhaven
One
Hospital.
of 17 hospitals in Silent Hill.
You gotta have your hospital level in the Silent Hill game.
There's the Cedar Asylum from Silent Hill 1, I think, or something like that.
But I think the Brookhaven Hospital is an area that I remembered being like, oh, this is probably one of the best areas in the game because it has these important moments that happen in it.
It's top 4 for sure.
But but the more I think about it, I actually think it might be one of my least favorite. I don't know if I like it less than the apartments. I think that's a stretch.
It's a good level.
I think it's a good level.
Yeah.
But I just remember most of it being going down the hospital, the very samey,
wards,
3 wards of the hospital over and over again. And those aren't the only environments. It's still...
I think it's good for its Maria content.
It's very good for its Maria content. Yeah. And different from the hospital in Silent Hill 1, this is like a mental ward.
It is a mental hospital, yeah. So a lot of the notes are to do with patients dealing with people who are having psychological breakdowns, which could be traumatic. Who knows?
Oh.
But yeah, it's got a good vibe to it. I'm a fan of the hospital. I think it's a good one.
Yeah, Maria at one point while following you ends up developing this kind of cough, and she has to lay down on a bed.
I love that cutscene, by the way. I forgot about this because James is just shining his flashlight into her face, he's holding it into her eyes, and she's just like, "Ugh."
Do you feel any better?
You feel better now?
Come into the light, my child. But this is where new enemy type, booby ladies, are back.
Booby ladies.
They're in. They're not actually as explicit as they are in later incarnations in Homecoming.
Yeah, they really gussy them up in Homecoming and stuff.
Yeah, but they are intentionally meant to be provocative.
Yeah, they kind of remind me of World War II nurses.
Yeah. They almost look like a tacky Halloween costume.
But they are grotesque. Yeah. Let's not be unclear about that.
They've got a folded over face. And they just drag pipes behind them and try to hit you with them. But there are a few strange adventure game puzzle bits here and there where
Oh, they have the best puzzle of all time. But they have that box that has 19 locks on it, and you have to get all these codes and all these keys, like the purple bull key and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then you open it, and all that's in there is a strand of hair.
It's a single long strand of hair, and you're like, if I tie a fishhook to this, I can reach down this drain so I can get another key. There's also that really weird non sequitur where you take the elevator ride with Maria and a game show host starts asking questions about the town's lore. You can learn the answers from stuff around town like newspaper clippings and stuff, and also paying attention to the map to look at locations. And if you do successfully know the answer to those questions, you can find a lockbox where the answers make up the combination and it gives you tons of health items and ammo.
Well, you're kind of not giving enough credit, because the guy doing the voiceover is doing this kind of like, "Welcome everyone to the Silent Hill Quiz Show! Yeah!
Welcome to the Circus of Value!
Yeah, it's got like a real vaudeville vibe to it.
I know some people consider it a blemish on the game, but I actually really like it, because even the characters are confused. Maria goes, what the fuck was that?
Well, that's when you get reunited with Maria.
Yeah.
Because you're like opening this door and Maria's like, "Hey baby, it's me." And he's like, no, you're just Maria.
Yeah, Maria has a meltdown at you.
Yeah. Well, I think James is like, "Oh, Maria, hey, you're here. Anyway." And she goes, "What do you mean, anyway?"
I guess, unlike everyone else it seems, she's actually aware of the monsters around you specifically, and she ends up crying and holding James, saying, "You're supposed to take care of me." And I really like that bit in particular, because I think it ties into what we eventually learn in the game. James is trying to open this fridge, and Maria teases him before helping him out.
Well, I think James does it and can't do it, and he's like, "Maria, help me out," and she's like, "You can't do it by yourself, big man? Okay, fine."
It's intriguing that Maria simultaneously wants James to be the big, strong man looking after her, but is fast to belittle him for his inadequacy.
And then you find the second ring that you need in there, and Maria's like, "This fucking sucks. You can have it." And James, this is one of my favorite James lines in the game, because it's the one where he's got like the most like normal personality, where he goes, "Oh, thanks."
Yeah, that moment is probably the most humanizing for him so far.
When he's doing it, it's because he's talking to Maria.
Yeah, there you go.
Wow. So at this point, you are actually in the hospital otherworld.
Oh yeah, that's true.
It's very easy to not realize you're in the hospital otherworld, because it just gets a bit grimier.
Yeah, it just gets slightly grimier. It's already a dark environment, so it's hard to tell.
But that's after you fight the hanging lips boss.
Yeah, what, with the legs?
With the legs, yeah. Because you find Laura, and Laura talks about how she was in the hospital with Mary, and James is like, "Oh, well, when was that?" And Laura's like, "Oh, last week." And he's like, "You fucking liar!
She died 3 years ago!
You suck!" And then he tries to be like, "Oh, I'm sorry. Take me to where you need me to go," because she's like talking about a letter that she has from Mary. And so Laura's like, it's the dumbest sequence of all time, because Laura's like, "Yeah, so if you go into that room there and go all the way to the back, I'm gonna hang out here, but you just go in there." And James is like, "Okay, I don't see it, Laura." And then she locks the door on him, thus triggering this boss fight with these fucking hanging leg cages.
Yeah, it's not a super exciting boss fight, but I prefer it over the Pyramid Head one, because at least it's a gameplay sequence, you know?
I guess so, yeah.
We're just gonna be on different feet on this.
Well, yeah, because that's what's silly about these guys, is they choke you with their little feetsies. They're like... And then when you kill them, their feet kind of like bend up.
Yeah. It's a silly looking fight. But it's after this point where you reunite with Maria to leave the hospital for good.
It's interesting because the transition from the otherworld to the otherworld is that like you fight this boss and then James kind of collapses and then you're being like pushed along on a gurney bed.
Oh.
And you get pushed into this room which is called the garden, and on the map it's this massive room, but like in the actual game it's a tiny little box room.
Yeah.
And you hear like the sound of rain coming down all around you.
Yeah, it's a very eerie part of the Brookhaven Hospital. You have this enormous fucking box that's supposed to be a place for fresh air and to feel less trapped.
Yeah.
But it's so stifling and, like, contained, and it feels artificial and wrong.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's the bit where you get to the roof of the hospital and it's now nighttime. It's pitch black. You go to the edge at one point and Pyramid Head appears behind you and pushes you.
He goes, "Nah, nah."
I think that's how you get to the basement's basement, right?
No, that's how you get to the a sane asylum part of the hospital where you get a code you need for the box with the hair. So it's jokes on you, Pyramid Head. You just helped me out.
Yeah. Loser. Sucker. But eventually, yeah, Laura goes off on her way. Lord fucking knows where.
Well, we do get the line. It's either in the first interaction or in the hospital one where James says, There's monsters all around, it's dangerous. And she's like, what are you talking about?
Yeah. That's kind of strange because, like, Eddie's obviously, like, confused about James talking about monsters. I think James mentions the pyramid thing.
Eddie has one of my favourite lines, which he says, "You're not friends with that red pyramid thing, are you?" I just imagine Eddie and Pyramid Head at a baseball game.
Yeah. Chucking on some brewskis. Yeah. Go Red Sox!
Angela says it's dangerous. And Eddie references that there are monsters around. He talks about there being monsters. Laura is very much like, I don't I'm just vibing in this town, bro.
I don't fucking know, man. Honestly, this part of the game gets very much a blur to me. But I just remember you finding Maria again and trying to get out of the hospital full stop.
Yeah.
Where you are pursued.
Yeah, so it's kind of great. You're going down this corridor. Like, it's a normal corridor, but it's a very long one with lots of twists and turns. And as you're going down it, this like horrible music starts playing. And you realize as you just turn a corner and the camera angle changes, the fucking Pyramid Head is behind you.
It becomes a Crash Bandicoot chase.
Yeah, it does, yeah. And he, you might be thinking, well, he's carrying that big knife, so how fast is he going? He has ditched that knife at this point, and now he's carrying a fucking spear.
Yeah.
And he's like coming at you with the spear, and you've got to get to this elevator. And you get to the elevator, and the door starts closing, and Maria hasn't made it through, and she starts banging on the door. Let me in, James, please.
Yeah.
And then James is like, I gotta get it open, and then blam, she's killed.
Yeah.
Impaled by Pyramid Head's spear.
My arm falls limp.
Yeah.
It falls out. The door closes, and James just collapses in the elevator, and it plays Magdalene, this like very like somber, simple piano piece, and that loops.
I think he says something like, Maria, I couldn't protect you. And then he says like, Mary, are you really waiting for me? Like, it's not like a moment of self-doubt at this point.
And then you're just back in the normal world version of the hospital.
Yeah.
And it's just empty and that piano's playing throughout the whole time.
Yeah. And night has descended.
Night has descended, yeah. And like the whole town is dark. It has an entirely different feeling to that like open segment. In fact, this is kind of where Silent Hill being an open town where you can go anywhere really ends. Like from this point onwards, you are pretty much by design intended to go to one place.
You're being funneled at this point, yeah.
Yeah, which is where you head to the Historical Society.
You have to go through the big construction, like, walls that are blocking some of your paths.
Yeah.
Because the doors on all those are locked at the first part of the game, but then in the second part, they are unlocked, allowing you access to them.
Yeah.
And written on the door, doors that wake in darkness open into nightmares. That's where you see the grabby boys.
Yeah, I like those guys, because like they're not an enemy, they just are around.
They're just vibing down there.
There is a really good bit in Neely's bar as well, and it's very conditional. Right? Like where there is a point where it's very strange, especially if like you don't know what's happening, because you just see the word "there was a hole here, it's gone now" like painted onto the glass door. But that's earlier in the game, isn't it?
Yeah, you can go to Neely's bar on your first trip through the town when you're looking for the apartments.
Yeah.
But when you return, it says something like Mary's in another place now, but don't worry, James, you're not going to where she is anyway, or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. And it's just like, oh god.
A little personal.
What does Mary look like again? Pull out the photo.
Yeah. She's an angel.
She's an angel.
I also do like the symmetry of the Maria section starts with Rosewater Park and ends with Rosewater Park.
That's true, actually. Yeah.
When you go back there, you have to go to an angel statue.
Oh, yeah. Oh, poor Maria.
Oh, she's dead and she's never coming back.
She's never going to... Maria dies and doesn't come back is the name of the chapter.
Chapter 2.
At which point, you end up finding the only real building you can actually get into. I believe there's actually clues that kind of point you in this direction. The whole game, and thus the town in James's mind, is luring him to this one place.
Well, there's a great part of that, because you're following this trail of notes to get through this part of the game, where the director of this museum is talking about how he hid this key in the park. And then when you find the key and you read the note, it says, it's like the guy talking about, like, I hid the key here so this guy wouldn't find it. I'm worried about what he would do if he had it. It leads to the Historical Society, and it says, I don't know what you think you're looking for in there, James. Maybe you'll find the truth. And it's like, oh, that's me.
I'm James.
How did he know?
Someone knew me here.
So it's being, the Historical Society is being set up as this like place where you can find the truth. And even though you don't find the truth there, it definitely is a delve deep into the inner workings of your mind.
It is. I just want to briefly comment on those notes, because I always get the impression with this town. It's plausible that like all the notes and news clippets and everything in the town are relevant and related to like people who actually used to live here.
Yeah.
But I believe it's all a facade. I think the town is deliberately putting these things around for James to find.
Well, it's very obvious this is not the adventures of a man going around a town and finding happenstances and clues.
Yeah.
This is all very directed towards James and his experience.
Yeah.
No one else could find these notes, I don't think.
No, especially considering the leaps of logic they require. They're very one-track mind.
Yeah.
The Historical Society, as you say, for starters, has this great little gallery where it has these weird paintings. It, gives, context for, the history of the town. It got founded by these settlers that came here, and then they built around this lake, and then a bunch of ships sank in it, which is really weird.
Yeah, and they killed all these Native Americans, and there was a pandemic, and look, everyone died here, and it's evil now.
Yeah. Anyway, there's a great park nearby you can go visit, and blah, blah, blah. And then you look at these paintings, and it's like, oh, that's the painting of Toluca Lake. Oh, that's a painting of whatever. That's a painting of Pyramid Head surrounded by a bunch of those leg figures that I had to kill earlier.
Honestly, good for him.
Oh, that's a tree! Look at that!
James looks at it and he's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I think the painting is just called Judgment.
Yeah, I think so.
And it's just like, oh.
I hope that's not relevant to me.
So anyway, you end up going past this sort of area, and you just end up going down, right?
Dude, fucking Silent Hill Historical Society. That's the level in games.
That's
incredible shit.
This is the best segment in the game.
Yeah.
And it's also fucking confusing. My second playthrough of this, I could not find the map to save my life, and it kind of added to the experience. I found it 20 minutes before ending that segment.
It's great because we're calling this level the Historical Society, but you actually don't spend any time in the Historical Society.
No.
You find this door that's at the back of the Historical Society that's been broken down, and then you go through this massive staircase, which as you're going down it is just doing this droning horn noise as you go down.
It keeps fucking going.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I imagine someone went down there and got about halfway through and was of a right mind to be like, you know what, this feels wrong. It feels like a Mario 64 stairs.
Yeah,
I'm going to turn back.
Yeah.
And they spend forever going back up. And then they're like, oh no, maybe I do have to go down. And there's a dread that sinks in as you're like, oh.
Well, it's great because the way the camera's framed, you could almost think that you are going up.
Yeah.
Because it's angled in such a way that you could be going up or down if you didn't. If someone came in the room, they probably wouldn't be able to tell that well.
The actual interior, once you get into it, I'm pretty sure there's a bit where you basically fall down the well. You know what it feels like to be a fucking child in a Lassie movie. And you have to break your way out of it, finding the right wall.
Yeah.
And essentially, you're effectively in this underground prison.
I think the idea is that the staircase you're going down has broken into the side of a prison.
Yeah.
So that's why it's technically not the Historical Society, but that's just what we all call it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a fascinating little segment, because it feels so maze-like. It feels nonsensical, and
yeah, at this point, the physical boundaries of reality have broken down. It's not so bad in the first, upper section of the Historical Society, but once you get a few more holes down, you were just in a nightmare, psychological hellscape labyrinth from which there is no physical sense or anything of that nature, you know?
Yeah.
The prison part of it is, that's got that real adventure game logic puzzles that you where you have to get a horseshoe, a doll, and a lighter.
Yeah.
So you can melt some wax onto the horseshoe to use it as a handle for a trapdoor.
Yeah. I remember, we were spending the entire time playing that, and I was like, oh, I'm going to need to find a crowbar to pry that open. No.
You got the doll and the horseshoe.
You need the horseshoe and the wax doll and the candle. And it's like, what the fucking...
What are we talking about?
You were talking about how every area has its regular world segment and its other world segment. I don't think any part of the Historical Society is the regular world.
So it's funny, I guess the way I would describe it is that the upper part of it, which is more the actual level, to me feels like the other world, and then the bit below it is the other world. Where it escalates to a point of collapse, of reality collapse, where that feels like a step even beyond the other world. You know?
Yeah, and it keeps surprising you, because you eventually get that map of the prison area, and you think that's just going to be the bulk of it, right? We're just going to go into the cells, you'll see the visitors' booths that are smashed open that you can pass through. There's a lot of time spent here, but you just keep going after that.
Yeah. You keep going down through different means, whether that be a staircase, an elevator, or just holes that James finds, and he's like, well, down the hole with me.
Yeah, with no regard for his safety or anything. He's just so driven.
He's so focused on the win, you know? But there must be at least 4 holes you go down.
Yeah.
And my favorite one is you go down this hole and it leads to this like deeper part of the prison where you then go down an elevator even deeper down into this building. It's crazy.
It inspires a lot of dread.
Like you're like entirely trapped in this space, and the only way to proceed is to go deeper and deeper into the madness, basically.
I interpret it as Silent Hill feeling like this is the appropriate place for James to be.
Yeah.
You know, either this is somewhere he should remain, or this is somewhere he needs to learn to navigate in order to get to the next step, you know.
The prison section, which is the upper part, is where you want to get meet Eddie, who is
Yeah.
now on his heel turn, because you meet him and he's sitting there with a revolver, and he goes, "Killing a person ain't no big deal." And James is just like, "What? What are you talking about, man?"
What do you mean?
Because there's another corpse next to him. And without being prompted, Eddie is like, "He was making fun of me. I had to do it." And James is like, "What are you talking about? You can't do that." And he's like, I'm just being a silly little guy. I didn't actually do that."
Yeah.
And then he runs off. He's like, "I gotta go do something." And James is like, "What do you mean?"
I mostly remember just like the puzzle with like the slabs in this one. You have to take them to these gallows, which is a similar like big dark space like the garden.
But this one's an actual big dark space.
It's an actual big dark space, and you hear constant galloping of horses.
Yeah.
When you successfully get them all in, you hear like the sound of like someone like screaming in pain, like, and the stretch of rope.
Yeah.
At least I interpret it as that, because it's a fucking gallows. Come on. And that's when like you end up getting a key item to go further in. That's like, I think that's supposed to be like kind of a jump scare, but that doesn't really get me. What does, however, in the Historical Society is a bit with a bathroom where there's just a bit where like you try to open a door into a bath stall, and instead James just knocks on it and nothing happens. And you can keep knocking on it and nothing will happen. And you're just like, okay, well, I'm done with this room. As soon as you turn around, you then hear an incredibly loud clatter and like a and it sounds it sounds really goofy. It sounds like fucking Donald Duck has just slipped over trying to shit. But the way that it's done, the timing, the silence that surrounds it and everything, that bit makes me fucking jump, because it's like, oh, fucking hell. Like, I don't know, I think that bit really works.
Yeah.
Because
because that's like jump scare 2.
Yeah, exactly. Out
like,
of 3.
Yeah, in like 3 hours in this 4-hour game.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, it's subtle. It's not trying to like shove a PNG of a monster in your face. It's just doing that like subtly to make you go, what the fuck was that? You know? Like, and that's what makes it work.
That's nothing of value, it just happens.
Yeah. As fear is unknowable. It's something that just happens sometimes.
Yeah, man, yeah.
You have a few wackier puzzles as you descend further down, like the cube. Well,
this is when you get into the labyrinth. You're just navigating this dark, wet maze, where it's just a bunch of environments jumbled together that don't make any sense with each other. Like some of them seem like the interiors of like a house.
Yeah.
The other ones are like the labyrinth where the Minotaur roams.
Yeah.
And like there's a bunch of rooms where it's just like, oh, down here you can just, there's like a big circle and Pyramid Head's just in it.
Yeah.
Chasing you around, and it's like, what the hell, bro?
I mean, that's how you can get his knife.
Yeah, you find his room.
Yeah.
Where he hangs out.
Where he keeps his stuff.
Yeah.
And he's like, hey, come on, man.
Take his big knife and never use it in a fight because it's fucking worthless. But this is the puzzle, or the room with the big cube that you have to rotate to make the doors appear in the right place.
Yeah. I mean, we get another encounter with Angela here.
We get the encounter with Angela here, really, don't we?
Yeah. The boss fight with the Abstract Daddy, which is a very silly name for a very serious moment.
I don't think it's silly.
I think Abstract Daddy is a very silly name. Either way, this room, it's full of implicit symbolism.
Well, you find a note outside this room, which is talking about the murder of a man named Thomas something, because the names are all being blanked out. And it's about how, like, he abused his family, he was, like, a horrible man, and he was killed, and all that stuff. And then you go and fight Angela's father in a way that is meant to make you think, oh, that's the person that was talking about in the newspaper.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You do. It goes down pretty quickly with a few rifle rounds.
Another incredible fight.
And then once that's done, Angela immediately grabs the TV and smashes him over the head with it and kicks the corpse repeatedly, kind of mimicking James's sort of like ruthless stomping of the bodies.
I learned it from watching you.
But the weird pistons in the walls keep pushing.
Yeah, we'll leave that to your imagination to think what that represents. Yeah.
Yeah. And Angela screaming and crying and wants you to leave her alone. And then turns on James as well in a sort of suspicious way, where she goes, "You said that Mary was dead, right?" And it's like, that's a bit of a weird way of saying it, but okay, we'll keep the tape.
Yeah.
And that's when Angela gets a little bit more accusatory.
She's basically doing like, you men are all the same speech, like you pretend to be nice to get one thing, and obviously we can all assume what the one thing is.
And that ultimately leads to Angela leaving the story for a very long time. But that's sort of past this point, you end up finding Eddie again. Well, actually, do you find the graveyard first?
We've forgotten about Maria.
Oh!
Because you find Maria before you find Angela's.
You're right. Yeah. We forgot about Maria. Sorry, Maria. You might be thinking, oh, hang on a minute. Maria is dead, and that's the shocker.
Huge twist incoming.
Crazy, bro. You go into this room, and you find Maria behind a set of bars.
Like, they put Maria in prison.
For
being too sexy.
And she's just acting weird. Because James is like, oh my god, how did you survive with that weird pyramid thing? Yeah. And Maria goes, what are you talking about? We got lost in that corridor, remember? We got separated.
And this scene is actually like my favorite in the entire game, because it cuts to this CGI cutscene with the camera facing towards Mary or Maria, and it's like slowly zooming in towards her, and she's sitting all like demurely and politely in this chair. She's like staring at you, and her face, like her head barely moves, and she's like switching between all these emotions. Where she starts talking as if she is Mary.
Yeah.
But she's like talking about their honeymoon in Silent Hill, and she's like, what about that videotape and I have eyes just like there's like life in them, but they're like, it's like a dead, horrible, weird life that's just boring into your soul while this like really unsettling music plays behind it. Like, it's so good. I love it so much.
Yeah. And then eventually she gets up from the chair, puts her hands through the bars to touch James's face, and just says, see, James, I'm real.
Well, there's also the great line where James is like sitting on the stool next to her, and he's like leaning, and he's like, what are you talking about? Are you Maria? And she's like, I am. If you want me to be.
I think before that she says, I'm not your Mary.
Yeah.
Which just completely confirms, like, well, you're not Mary then. Yeah. Like, you've admitted it. That seemed kind of obvious at first anyway.
Yeah.
But with the very nature of her. But it's still... She basically invites him in to have some powwow. I can't do anything behind these bars, which is honestly... That's just uncreative thinking.
That's
skill
issue. Yeah. And then James is like this real sheepish, like, okay. Alright. I would like that.
Yeah, let's go. So he does his damnedest to try and get into her
He's
room.
like, I gotta get over there.
Yeah, it's like, get out of my way, Angela.
He's like running, like,
fuck off, Pyramid Head. Who doesn't really appear much in this level beside that little corridor, right? Where he lives, his little room.
He's just there. He's just vibing in there.
God, fucking what's the rent like in that place? Like $2 a year?
He's getting a great deal from the line figures, yeah.
Yeah. Could you imagine trying to give the line figure your, like, rent in a brown envelope, and it
like,
just
why do I put this?
Yeah,
you just press it into their forehead. It just gets stuck. Like,
yeah, like, okay, sure. You ultimately find your way onto the other side of Maria's cell, and she's just immediately fucking dead.
James is like, fuck.
Like, no.
Or she's like been like bludgeoned. There was a slight detail about the original scene that I forgot to mention, which is that when the cutscene ends and you can move again, Maria's sitting in her stool. But, like, if you just watch her for a while, she'll, like, very slowly and socially get up and sort of, like, stride over to her bed and sit there and be like, well...
I think it's past this point, that's where you end up finding that weird graveyard, where you see 3 open graves, and the gravestones are labelled Angela Oresco, Eddie Borowski, and James Sunderland.
Yeah.
And guess where you gotta go?
Down a hole.
Gotta go down a hole into your own grave, James.
Like, at this point, you must be so deep below the earth.
It's down this point where you find Eddie again for the last time.
Eddie's completed his turn to the dark side. Because he's like, you fucking look at me funny, I'm gonna kill you dead. It's at this point that it's revealed that Eddie basically, like, shot a jock in the leg for bullying him.
Yeah.
Because Eddie was relentlessly bullied in high school. As all American children seem to have been, according to media. And, like, he, like, killed a dog.
He killed a dog?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and you end up having the world's sickest fight ever with Eddie Borowski.
The battle against Eddie.
The battle against Eddie.
The true hero.
It plays Battle Against the True Hero. That's actually the track that inspired Undertale.
So you stand there and you shoot at him for a bit.
Yeah, you basically stand perfectly still and you fire a few shots and he runs away into a bigger room that has meat everywhere.
Yeah.
Like big meat carcasses hanging from the ceiling. And he's like...
It's kind of implied that that's the version of Silent Hill that Eddie sees.
I like that interpretation.
Yeah.
Because it's plausibly still the one that James is seeing.
Yeah.
But
considering, like, a later scene with Angela, there's an implication that at the final moment with these characters, you are kind of crossing over into their personal hell rather than your own.
Yeah, which is intriguing.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
It also implies that Silent Hill itself is a personal hell for James. And it's like, okay, this is an interesting...
Well, it's an interesting, like, broadening of the scope of the structure, because obviously in, like, a practical universe sense, the story of this story is about James.
Yeah.
And the other characters are peripheral to his experience, but in the actual world, they're going through their own stuff, and James is just as peripheral to them as they are to you in the fiction, which there's, like, the only point where that actually really manifests, which I think is interesting.
Yeah. But you kill Eddie.
Yeah, would you tell me about the death of Eddie?
So Eddie basically lets out an ogre's roar as he falls over, and he falls over, and you don't quite see his face. It kind of like gets cut out of view, and James walks up to him and goes, "Eddie, Eddie,"
and this is like after firing 8 high caliber rifle rounds directly into his face. Yeah. He's like, "Oh no,
what have I done?" But he goes, "I killed a human being, a human being."
In the remake, you get a sick chivo that's called A Human Being. Kill Eddie. That's true. That's a true fact.
Sometimes I really flip on a coin between being like, achievements are a really good way to like increase like a replay value and reward people for like, trying particular ways of playing the game. And then there are moments like this where I'm like, that's the dumbest shit. To have little pop up like after you fucking shoot a man in the face.
I killed another human being
in a story like this,
and I got 25 achievement points for it.
Yeah.
Wasn't even worth it, honestly.
It was a bronze trophy.
Fuck. No, I just love this scene. That's like, to me, because you can construe it as silly because it is kind of funny.
Yeah,
but also it's like, okay, everything that happened in that building was like not real, like wasn't in real space, because you come out of this door and you're just suddenly like at a dock. Like, do you look back up and the building is this giant tower, and you're like, oh, that makes sense.
It's like a Half-Life 2 Citadel.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like it really hammers home the point that what you just went through is metaphysical. It isn't like you went through an actual building.
Yeah, but that is when you finally get some fresh air, and it's daytime again. Like, you've been down there all night, and you end up going up onto the docks, and James is just immediately like, there's a boat, we can go on it now.
Yeah, I love sailing.
Doesn't even think about it, he just immediately starts rowing this fucking boat into the fog.
And then you have the sickest boat minigame of all time.
And if you do not know what you're doing, you will be here forever.
Yeah.
You need to have like a sailor's mind. You have to be like, what are sailors always looking for?
The
Light.
North Star.
The North Star. Aye, the North Star.
So you have to take me to my wife.
You have to find a bright point of light and just try to like sail towards it. And I'm pretty sure it's like random, right? Like where the light is. So
I've never quite figured out how it works.
No.
I just sail, man.
I get kind of lucky with it whenever I've played it. And that is when James sails over to a secondary dock and steps off it, puts his hands on his hips and looks over at the murky, foggy sight of the hotel.
The Lakeview Hotel.
Lakeview Hotel, California. You end up entering this hotel. You kind of have to snoop around the gardens outside of it first, though, in order to like pick up a few bits and pieces. This is probably the haziest bit of the game for me. I know these few little
highlights. Do I remember that hotel, baby?
I remember highlights, but I can't tell you these things verbatim in order.
Okay.
So I might need you to lead the show for the rest of this part.
You go for it. There are enemies. You win.
Yeah. You win, and then you get the high score. And James, if you do it fast enough, James is actually in a bikini at the end.
Hell yeah! So the hotel is lovely, a very nice place. It seems entirely intact.
It reminds me a bit of the manor house in fucking Clock Tower 3.
Yeah. So the central puzzle of the first section of the hotel is you have to find these 3 music boxes which correspond with 3 different fairy tales.
Yeah.
So there's a Little Mermaid one that you got outside, there's a Cinderella one, and there's a Sleeping Beauty one. And obviously you go around doing puzzles in survival horror fashion. You have to find some paint thinner to put onto a briefcase to get the code for it so you can get one of the boxes. You have to get the fish key.
Oh, the fish key.
Which unlocks a door that's got nothing to do with fish.
It's just got a fish on it.
Yeah, it's stupid.
Hey, it's by the lake, you know?
You talk to Laura again, and Laura tells you that she was in the same hospital as Mary. And she gives you a letter in which Mary says that she wishes she could have lived so she could adopt Laura and welcome her into her family. And she actually mentions James in this letter being like, I know you don't like him, he's very surly, but deep down he's very nice.
Yeah.
And James is like, okay, I guess maybe Mary didn't die 3 years ago, so maybe she really is here. And you're at your highest point, you're beginning to hope that perhaps you'll be able to see her again. You actually find a videotape in the hotel Lost and Found that you made while doing your honeymoon. And you're like, great, excellent, I got this, I can watch this later.
I do like that bit where you find Laura and she's playing the piano. Yeah. Where it plays a song, Laura plays the piano.
Well, she also jump scares you with it.
Yeah, she does.
Yeah, that's the third jump scare, where she goes...
like that, yeah.
She's like also drawing these little fish on the wall, like on the glass pane with the fog and stuff. And at this point, Laura's kind of mellowed out a little bit.
Yeah, she's not being quite so much of a menace.
Yeah.
She's being quite honest, and it leads to a scene where her and James are simultaneously kind of opening up to one another and also eventually still being quite hostile, because like what James says about Mary and what Laura says about Mary...
Laura, you're not going to believe this. I found Mary, but she's hot.
They kind of contradict.
Yeah. Well, because it's at this point where you realise that Laura knows James for sensible reasons.
Yeah.
She knew Mary when she was alive, talked to her about James, whereas Angela just seems to have knowledge of you that she shouldn't have.
Yeah. That's interesting to observe, actually. Why does Angela know?
Does she know?
Does she know?
Yeah.
Put that thumbnail up.
Okay, you got it. You do the thumbnails, but whatever.
As you say, it does lead to you getting this videotape. Do you need to go down the elevator before this point?
No, you need to go down the elevator to get the last music box, I think. You get the videotape actually very early on because you can gain access to the staff room where you then find the videotape. But obviously you can't play it.
No, you need to find a video player.
Yeah.
But there is a point where you do end up finding you need to go down into a basement to get a few more items.
Yeah.
And as soon as you step into the fucking elevator, it plays this blaring klaxon alarm.
Yeah.
As it says that like there is actually a weight limit and only one person at a time is allowed in. What you then have to do is there is a supply closet next door. You have to put every single item in your inventory.
Yeah, one by one.
Yeah, every health item, every weapon.
Yeah, photo, including your letter from Mary.
Yeah, your photo of your wife. Make sure you have a little look at that just to remind yourself what Mary looks like.
She was a smoking girl.
Angela's knife. Maybe don't look at that for quite so long, but whatever. And then you pop that all away and you step onto the elevator and you can go down. This segment has enemies in it. But obviously you have no weapons on you, you can't fight back. So it's a change of pace where you kind of have to navigate this area and find what you're looking for, but you can't deal with the creepy crawlies.
This kind of feels like the only point in the game where they had any ideas with the enemies.
Yeah.
They're like, what if you had a section where you haven't got to fight them? Or you can't fight them. It's like, I just run around them like I always do.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, honestly, this is the point where it kind of shows maybe they ran out of time because Abstract Daddy becomes a regular enemy.
Yeah, he's just vibing around.
He's just always about, yeah.
Which, like, considering Abstract Daddy's thematic place in the story makes no goddamn sense.
Yeah, and they're a lot weaker as well.
Yeah, they're just enemies now.
You eventually go back up, you can get all your things back. You better remember to do that. Don't forget about your wife picture.
Well, when you get your stuff back, you have to get it all back. You can't not take stuff.
Yeah. That eventually leads you to like trying to find more ways, because most of the hotel is just you finding keys into different hotel rooms to get different things to go into other hotel rooms.
Because you're trying to get to room 312, because that's the room you and Mary stayed at. But obviously your way is barred by a bunch of locked doors and puzzles and things like that.
Yeah. Ultimately, you end up getting your way into room 312. You find there is a perfectly intact VCR player inside of it. Unfortunately,
you insert your VCR of Finding Nemo in there.
Yeah, you put your Finding Nemo VCR in there and someone's taped over it with something. Something suspicious. Something strange. As you watch this footage of an old family video, it's your dead wife footage, you know?
That's what's written on the label. Dead wife footage.
Every good story with a dead wife has got to have it, you know? Like, if you ever got a significant other, make sure you get dead wife footage of your significant other, because you're going to need that in the future.
And it's like footage of Mary in this hotel room being like, oh, Silent Hill, it's so great. They have a bar, a Bowlarama.
Are you recording again? I always love this
Which implies
place.
that James was like a real media hound before this all went down. He was always filming stuff like, check this out, Mary.
Things that are a bit fucking weird about this footage. You have this nice little bit of family footage where it's like, well, there you go.
There's Mary.
Hang on a minute. Why does it look like CCTV footage now? It's just Mary lying down. And then James is going up to...
Oh, look, there's James. He's going to give her a bed to tuck her into bed.
Yeah, it seems like he's lent in for a little bit of a kiss.
Oh,
hold on a minute.
James, you shouldn't do that. She can't breathe.
Hey.
Mine. So here's the shocking twist. Did you know James Sunderland killed his wife?
He killed Mary Sunderland.
That's right.
And he sits there for a while looking real sad.
Yeah, he's got that like, oh, I'm late for work. Like,
he's just he's sitting there, like just looking down, legs wide apart, man spreading.
Yeah.
And Laura runs into the room being like, did you find Mary? No. I killed her. And Laura's like, what? No.
She's like, "You murderer! Bring her back! I want her back!"
And there she goes. But the game doesn't end here. No, siree.
No, there's 7 more levels, actually.
It's actually 7 more colourful worlds.
James has got to navigate.
He has to go through the lava town and the fucking factory level.
And this is perhaps, Connor, maybe there's some Silent Hill 3 fucked up transitions that are pretty impactful, but this is maybe the best otherworld transition in a Silent Hill game.
I like it a lot. Yeah. I like it a lot because you have to keep playing, and you hear this constant droning sound from a track that is called Black Fairy. It's just this constant humming drone as you're going through, and you're trying to get out of the hotel the way that you got into it, going into different hotel rooms. As you do so, it gets more and more dilapidated, and it becomes this maze of just going from one place to another, and you can get lost and stuck. And
well, the transition that I like so much is that you go through the door, and like suddenly the hotel is like burnt down, like it's like ruined now.
Yeah, like that's kind of like part of the like dilapidation process of it. I was thinking to myself, do I actually like the hotel as much as a level? Do I actually think the apartments were kind of more fun to look back on? And then I'm like, no. After the revelation, this level becomes pretty fucking cool.
Yeah. Because like the doors are like teleporting you from point to point.
Yeah. They don't make any more sense. Yeah. You're just going from anywhere to anywhere at this point. Eventually, at some point, as you're trying to get out of the hotel, you find Angela.
Yeah, you go into a door that is marked as a stairway, and then you go into it, and then you're in a room ablaze with flame. Standing on the stairs is Angela, who turns to you and she's like, "Mama, I found you!" There's like this flesh rectangle on the wall. There's like a man who's been bisected onto this big frame, basically.
Yeah.
And Angela's, she has dialogue. At the very start of the game, much like James, she talks about like how she's trying to find her mother, and she's also trying to find her brother and her father. But at this point, she's like, basically what it implies is that she has killed her father and her brother, and she's looking for her mother so she can kill her too.
Oh.
Because she says, "You're the only one left. Maybe after you I can finally rest." And I think the implication, or like the direct assertion, is that Angela's mother like very much allowed the abuse of her to happen. And she has this like really great conversation with James, where James is trying to give her "I'm gonna talk you down" speech.
Yeah.
And Angela's like, "You just don't fucking get it, man." And she has this line where she's like, "Are you gonna take care of me? Are you gonna look after me?" And James is like, "Nah." And she's like, "Yeah, fuck it, I thought so."
Yeah.
Like, you can say you're niceties now, but you're not actually gonna do shit for me.
Yeah. And then she slowly walks up those stairways into the fire.
It's so good because it becomes gameplay again.
Yeah.
And she's like, she says her famous Angela line where James says, like, this is like the final line he says to her. He says, "You know, Angela, it's hot as hell in here." And she goes, "Oh, you see it too? For me, it's always like this." And then she turns and she walks away up the stairs.
Yeah.
And it transitions back to gameplay, and you can leave right away, but you can just stand there and watch her as she slowly descends up the stairs.
Yeah. I think that's kind of the first point you actually get a proper tip off of like maybe the surroundings of these people in their final moments are what their versions of Silent Hill look like. Because while we can say that about Eddie, like, as we did earlier, when Angela, like, says that, that's kind of where it's more clear.
Yeah,
like,
when she says, "You see it too," huh? Yeah.
Eddie's little, like, butcher house that he's in, honestly, is passably looks enough like James's areas to make sense in that regard. But it's fascinating to speculate on what Silent Hill looks like to everyone else.
Yeah.
Although I would never want to properly see that visualized.
Yeah, because the mystery is the point. That's not your journey.
I think it would be interesting to see a Silent Hill game where the idea is that the town is on fire.
Well, it's really interesting to think that retroactively, in every scene when Angela met James, the room was on fire.
Yeah. Or maybe those bits were like a weird middle ground. Maybe those rooms do look like they're not burning, but everywhere else in the apartments to Angela does look like it's burning.
Yeah.
Like, this is a weird pocket of respite where she can contemplate her motivations and what she's doing with the knife. And Angela is a very interesting character, and she's one that's very tricky to kind of like pick apart, I suppose.
Yeah.
Because this is going to sound really dumb, but genuinely, before we did this point in the podcast, I kind of forgot that she didn't just kill her dad. I genuinely thought that was the only person that she killed, and it was like, justifiably, after what has been implied to have happened to her, she still killed someone, and Silent Hill has deemed her to be someone that needs to be punished.
Yeah.
But now knowing that like she was intending to kill her mother and that she did kill her brother, it totally makes sense why she's here and why she's too far gone.
Yeah. Because that is the interesting thing about Angela, is that the end point of her story is that she's too far gone to be saved.
Yeah.
Like, there's no redemption for her. And like, I could see how someone could see that as being, oh, someone who has been abused is doomed to this horrible fate. But that is just the story of the character they're telling, I suppose. Like, I'm not sure if I could envision any version of the story where she's okay at the end of it.
I personally don't like the idea of it.
Yeah.
I think that Angela is someone who is deeply tragic and flawed, and I think that if you give her a happy ending, you're kind of undermining what this game's tonally doing.
Yeah.
I know there's, like, especially when we see someone who is traumatized that, like, we would love to see, like, fixed and to give a happy ending. At the same time, like, you're a big fan of Rule of Rose, right? Do you think that game really would have been improved if there was an ending where Jennifer and Wendy do live happily ever after properly? Like,
It's just not the story they're telling.
Yeah, that's
like,
not the story.
The big, like, emotional hit in that scene is the one at the very end when you're a child again and, like, you're leaving the orphanage for the final time, but Wendy can't come with you because she's dead, and that's like the big point of that game's story that really hits for me.
Yeah.
And you can't change that. That just kind of ruins the impact for me.
Yeah, tragedies are tragedies.
Yeah.
I'm thinking again about, like, Eddie, because Angela kind of resigns herself to her fate. We don't know what happens to her, but it's very likely that she's gone by that point. But Eddie dying, being killed by you, it makes you wonder, like, did the town deliberately put those two together to allow, like, one of them to finish the other? Or was the town not ready to do anything with Eddie yet?
Well, because the interesting difference is that between Eddie and Angela is that Angela she's much more sympathetic. The fact that she lashed out against her father, who was monstrous to her, is something that you can sympathize with. Whereas Eddie is directly antagonistic. He has been the victim of, like, verbal abuse and like bullying and things like that. And I don't want to say that it doesn't give him a reason to be angry.
Yeah.
But he, like, becomes consumed by hatred to the point where he kills a dog and revels in it, you know?
Yeah.
He's the kind of person where he's like, I have killed and I will kill anyone who annoys me again.
Yeah.
So he's kind of reached a point where he can't be allowed to live out on his own terms because he's become a monster.
Yeah.
Whereas Angela doesn't... You never get the sense that Angela got any satisfaction from killing her family. She just feels compelled to.
Yeah.
She doesn't want to do it necessarily, but she just has to feel like... to try and chase some sense of peace that she can never get again.
Eddie's definitely an interesting case where I think the slaughterhouse that you kind of kill him in is, like, the perfect place for him to have been in his, like, last moment there.
Well, because I think the implication is, like, everyone just sees him as a big piece of meat.
Yeah.
Like a big piece of, like, fat meat, basically, because of his appearance.
It's slightly unfortunate, like, how much that's empathized about him, but at the same time, like, the moments where Eddie is gluttonous, he is also simultaneously being slothful and neglectful.
Yeah.
And that's the more important part of his scenes. It's his utter indulgence in himself, his quickness to divert any responsibility.
Yeah. Well, the fact that he dresses like a child as well.
Yeah, he is being childish. He's being entirely, like, self-centered, and obviously part of that is the trauma of him being bullied. It's a parallel of Angela. Angela acts like a child. She refers to her mother as her mama, and, all of these things.
James's story is obviously so central to this narrative, and that's, like, the core of it. But I do think the additions of Angela, especially Angela, and also Eddie to a lesser degree, kind of raise up the scope of the story, where it's like a general treatise on trauma and pain and abuse and how you deal with those things.
Yeah.
And having those two, like, separate storylines there, I think really adds to the feeling of this town as a place where these feelings go to be adjudicated or to be punished or to do whatever you do with them, you know?
Yeah.
And I think it's also really enhanced by the fact that Laura is there, who doesn't see any monsters because she has no guilt.
Yeah, the version of the town Laura probably sees is probably very basic. It's probably just a foggy, empty town.
Yeah.
And again, I need to stress, I love speculating about these things. I don't want to ever see them.
Oh no, that would destroy the mystery.
Yeah, like...
If Born from a Wish, which is the Maria sub-story, was Angela's quest, that would dent her impact in the story.
Yeah.
To Angela, James is just a periodical observer of her own story.
Yeah.
And the fact that that's the relationship that we have with her is what makes it work so well.
Mm.
I don't want to see the other side of that.
No, I think that's understandable.
Yeah.
I think I agree with that. Probably most cases, actually. But do we want to get to the conclusion of James's story while we're here?
Yeah. Well, there's not much more to talk about gameplay-wise, is there, I suppose?
No, well, we've gone through... Weapons are not really important to talk about. Enemies stay the same.
We're back to another barn burner of a boss fight, baby.
Oh,
the climactic battle of the century.
But wait, Maria is back.
Oh.
Yeah, so Maria has been, like, tied up in this large room. She's like...
I always find it a bit stupid.
Yeah.
It's like she's like upside down in this like medieval torture rack.
Yeah. Feels like something the Scissor Twins would concoct.
Yeah. And speaking of the Scissor Twins,
there are not one, two pyramid heads.
Yeah.
Basically, Maria is screaming for help, and James like, "No, Maria, I'll help you." And then fucking the Pyramid Heads like stab her, and James falls onto his knees and collapses and stuff. He mutters to himself, "I was weak, and that's why I needed you." And he slowly gets back onto his feet, and he's like, "It's time to finish this." Yeah. Then the two Pyramid Heads are next to him with their spears in tow. You have to now properly fight the two Pyramid Heads. It's an empty room. There's no cover. There's no environmental factors. It's just...
I mean, by fight them, do you mean run around in a big circle?
You run around in a big circle. You can shoot at them to speed things up.
Yeah, once again, you do not have to shoot them to end this fight. It is just a matter of time.
Yeah. Because ultimately, once the after a while, the Pyramid Heads just stop and stab themselves with the spears and go into an A pose.
And then you get their delicious Easter eggs.
Yeah, which are important for some endings, right?
No, that's how you unlock the door into the next room.
Oh, is
you
it?
have to put
okay.
the Easter eggs in the wall.
Oh, and they're called like the something of... I forget what the fuck they're called.
The egg of suffering.
The egg of suffering and the egg of get over it, you moron.
I also want to give a quick shout out to Betrayal.
Oh, the song, yeah.
Because that's like Pyramid Head's like battle theme, and what I like about it is that this is really repetitive. Dun, 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 dun.
It feels like the clanging of muted bells is the way I would put it. And there is that slight like droning sound in the back. Not really droning, like a chiming sound. For
the final fight, it's got like this choir to it.
Yeah, I think it's an appropriate track. I think the Pyramid Heads going into that like A pose is kind of silly looking.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
I mean, I like the thematic implication that it's like he overcomes the need for them, so they no longer have a need to exist.
Yeah, but it kind of implies that they're just kind of like, all right, well, we've had enough.
You've proven yourself in the arena. Congratulations, James.
You won. You then get out of there, and you go up into the burnt-out shell of the hotel proper, where, as you get out of the Pyramid Head fight, you then go down this long
we're talking
corridor.
about Depression Hallway 2009.
Yeah. Where it's just playing a conversation between Mary and James, where James has brought Mary some flowers, and Mary is livid. She starts yelling at him, telling him to leave, berating him, belittling him, and eventually crying and begging for him to come back.
Yeah.
I think this is the moment where if you think that all the acting in this game is bad, that's when you really need to like pivot on that.
No, the woman doing Mary's voice acting is like impeccable. Like, she's so good.
She's genuinely incredible, yeah. I agree with you wholeheartedly on that. Like, she does an amazing job. And it's a really powerful scene because of it. It is a scene that, with enough run speed, you can just skip a huge chunk of it.
Well, that's what I like about it, is that to listen to the whole conversation, you have to subject yourself to it willingly.
Yeah,
you have to stay there and stop, yeah.
Yes.
And actually not doing it, like skipping it, affects your ending.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
I mean, actually, there's smaller bits inside the hotel we failed to mention where you can stop off in different bits of the hotel and hear conversations like James had with a doctor about how long she has left to live, where the doctor says she's got 3 years left to live.
Yeah.
Which is why he said that she died 3 years ago.
I also really like that that part of the conversation, because James gets really upset where he's like, "Why are you just gonna let her die? You're a doctor, you have to heal her." And he's like, "I'm sorry, man, like I can't do nothing about it."
Yeah.
Like, it's a real, like, to me it feels like a real genuine reaction to hearing that kind of news of like, no, there must be something we can do about it. Like, come on.
Terminal sickness is an incredibly like heavy subject, and it's something that's very hard to tackle properly in like a video game narrative.
God, it's so like this is like kind of part of my conclusion speech, but this game came out in fucking 2001,
right?
And it was about a terminal illness. Like, it's such a crazy topic for it to have covered.
I guess we can't really talk about the rest of the game without splitting into the endings, right? So the one that most people would see past this point, going down this corridor, is you would head up the stairs and you would see...
You're kind of like in this hollowed out fence world, aren't you? In the middle of this like burnt down building with a bunch of rain pouring down.
Yeah.
There's like no music playing. It's very quiet as you're going up these like big stairs. And you get to the top and there's a hospital bed and a woman staring out the window who appears to be Mary.
Yeah, she's dressed like Mary, looks exactly like Mary, sounds like Mary. That motherfucker ain't Mary, that's Maria again.
Oops, all Maria.
Oops, all Maria. James sees through that disguise and says, and sort of declares as so. I think, like, Maria's basically begging me, like, no, look, I can be Mary, And James is just like, no,
Yeah. Like, he rejects her, and then Maria responds with, like, what do you fucking mean? I could be everything to you. I could do this for you.
Yeah.
I could be Mary, but better. And he's like, nah, man, like, I don't want that.
Yeah, that's not what I want. To which she then turns into a mega monster in a cage, and then you have to do a sweet boss fight where she's throwing moths at you. I think when I was playing it, I didn't really mind it.
Yeah.
But the more I think about it, the more it feels like they felt they needed to do it, and it's like they didn't.
They didn't, no.
They really, really didn't.
I think the only thing I like about it is that once you've defeated Maria, she's like in this cage, which I think is meant to be like a hospital bed. That's like the implication.
Yeah.
And she's lying on the ground, and she's going, James, and you have to shoot her to end the fight. And it's kind of got like that mercy kill vibe to it. You kind of have this weird scene where James sees Mary in a bed and they're like talking.
Yeah.
And like James is like confessing to her basically. I think it's a really interesting push and pull because Mary's like, it's okay, I forgive you. You did it because I was suffering, right? And then James goes, yes, I just couldn't bear to see you suffer. And then he goes, that's actually not true. I just wanted my fucking life back. Like I wanted you out of the way because I wanted to go back to living and not having to worry about you anymore.
That's so fair. It's not right to kill her for it, but also that isn't a completely understandable anger.
Yeah.
To feel like you've lost so much time in this moment. That is a pain I never want to feel.
Yeah. It's one of those things that obviously like the booby nurses get memed and like the explanation being that it's James lusting after them in the hospital is like kind of funny. But like it's the point of like he was doing that because he felt repressed and he felt like he couldn't live. So he was like desiring things that he shouldn't have done and being pushed to this point of desperation, basically.
Yeah. This is definitely not for the same reasons as James, like, because I do not have those same circumstances at all, thank God. But I do understand a certain feeling of being like, I wish I hadn't spent my time doing this.
Right.
I wish that at a previous point when I was younger, when I had different decisions I could make, I could have done something drastically different.
Yeah.
And there are times where I curse the decisions I made and the people that were around me at that time to be like, why the fuck did I not just do this? You know? And that's why I understand that anger, that desire to like take control back by any means necessary. But
well, it's like an interesting debate. I think the reputation that James has on the internet, which I think he deserves, is that he is a monster. Like, he kills his wife. That's not a cool thing to have done.
No.
But I think the way the game presents it isn't so much that you should think that he was justified in doing so, or that you should, like him. You don't think that he's unreasonable for doing it, I suppose. Like, you understand the situation that he's been put in, and you can kind of sympathize to a degree.
Yeah.
But it's still like, he did kill his wife.
Yeah. For the record, I'm not saying that he should have done it, or anything like that.
No, but what I mean is that, like, it's not quite... I feel like when I hear people read about it, they're like, James is a piece of shit. And I'm like, yeah, I guess I agree. But there's more of a nuance to it than that.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, yes, James was a bad person. He did a really bad thing. But you get why, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna sound biblical. I'm gonna sound like that he who is without sin cast the first stone. But that kind of is the way people act about this predicament.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, what James goes through is a pain that I would wish on no one.
Well, I want to talk about Mary's letter. Because you read... So basically, one of the cool things about Mary's letter is that when you get... I can't quite remember what point it is. It might be after you realise that you killed her. The letter becomes a blank piece of paper.
Oh.
Because it wasn't a real letter.
Yeah.
Like, it was the town drawing James in. But then you do actually get the real letter that Mary wrote, which James hasn't seen, apparently. I should note that it's not necessarily confirmed, but it is known that James killed Mary about a week ago.
Yeah.
Like, it's not been 3 years. It's been like a week since she died.
Yeah, and that was the last time Laura saw her. Was a week ago.
Exactly. Yeah, but then Mary reads you the full letter. Like it's actually a pretty lengthy letter. Like,
it's
it goes on
real
for a while.
long. Yeah.
But she basically talks about the fact that she wanted to live, that she wished she could have spent more time with him, that she wished she could have done all these things. But then she ends her letter by saying, "If you could do me one thing, James, please just live." Like, I would feel so much better knowing that you would go on and live your life after I'm gone. And that's the thing that would bring me joy in my final moments.
Yeah. And then there is the very last line. Well, I mean, it's a hell of a fucking performance from the actress as well. Like, if rumor is to be believed, she is not only genuinely crying in that moment while recording that, but it was also her first take of doing it.
Yeah.
Which is why it's so full of emotion, and it's probably why they kept it. They were like, we don't need to do this again. This wouldn't have the same impact. It's that last fucking line where she says, "James, you made me happy."
Yeah.
And it's like, that hits real hard. And because despite all the beration and the yelling and everything that's happened, and like James has feelings about everything that's happened. It's like what mattered in the end was not necessarily how it ended, but how they lived, you know?
Like, it's such a genuine depiction of that kind of relationship and that kind of pain and how that can push you to do things that you regret.
Yeah.
And it's like, this game came out in fucking 2001.
I know.
But what an ending, man.
What a fucking ending, you know? However, the context and how you're reading this letter does vary. Pretty drastically depending on the ending you got. But should we start with the one that is the most common ending?
Yeah, the most common ending, which is also the one of the least satisfying endings.
Oh, really?
Well, I didn't think you liked this one that much either, because it feels very rushed.
So I think from a development perspective, I think it feels rushed. And it's also the ending that makes me think a little bit too much about like the wider world surrounding Silent Hill, which I don't think that story should. Like, that's not right. Is what is referred to as the leave ending, where it is the ending where James reunites with Laura and decides to fulfill the wish that Mary wished for, which was to adopt her.
Yeah, and to keep living.
And to keep on living together. So that letter is read over a shot of the graveyard at the beginning of the game, and you see Laura and James walking through the graveyard, one and then the other, into the mist, back out of Silent Hill.
Yeah, that is the thing that's interesting about it, is that they do leave kind of separately.
Yeah.
Not together, but like one after the other.
Yeah. I think that to many people, this is the best ending. It's the best outcome.
It's the best outcome, yeah. Like, we'll talk about this when we talk about the next ending, but the fact that James does comply with Mary's wishes feels like kind of earned, I suppose.
Yeah. It feels like he's confronted the challenge before him that Silent Hill has presented, and he's reconciled with everything. I think the reason why I consider this to be my least favourite ending for a good while is just because the graveyard shot is just like a brown blank slate.
Yeah.
And like, you don't see anything more of it. Not that I would really want to. It just kind of feels the most like, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It kind of feels like if you think about it too much, the fiction falls apart.
Because
it's like, surely Laura has parents or like a guardian.
I think she's an orphan.
Yeah, but she'd be from an orphanage, right? Like,
yeah, but then James could just adopt her.
Yeah, but then isn't James going to go to jail for fucking killing his wife?
But that was a separate point.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like, that's the point where I'm a little bit more like, about it. Is like, how does James cover up this crime?
You got to think of it as more of as a thematic ending rather than like an actual, this is the next event in the story.
Yeah, because James ain't going to be able to fulfill that promise. Like, you know, he's not going to be able to fulfill the wishes. From jail, he can live, but he can't adopt Laura. Then the other ending, which it's the only other base game ending, isn't it?
It's the only ending, there's only two endings you can get on the first playthrough, I believe.
Yeah. Which is very, very conditional. The way you get these endings are like, they're very specific. So effectively, there's lots of small things that like point you into a specific ending.
Yeah.
To get this particular ending, you need to be repeatedly checking the picture of Mary. You need to be inspecting Angela's knife on occasion. You need to go back to Neely's bar where it gives you the warning about how Mary's in another place, but you won't be going there, James.
You've got to play recklessly as well.
Yeah, you got to
not healing after taking damage and stuff like that.
Yeah, which I was kind of doing by default because I was trying to conserve my healing items, so this was actually the first ending that I got. This ending is referred to as In Water. And basically what happens is that instead of choosing to live on by Mary's wishes, James completely ignores Laura, takes his car, drives into the lake, and says, now we can be together.
Yeah.
Which means that letter is written not over a background of the graveyard, but just of this greeny blue, watery abyss with a bit of light shining from the top into the shadows below. And that, to me, is why I think I found the letter so impactful, because it was not only over this very simple, serene background, but in the context, James did not fulfill the wish. And
so it's not like my problem with this ending. Like, I think in terms of like emotional impact, this is the most powerful ending in the game, and it kind of suits the game's very, very cynical tone. But it also seems to me so, like, it's so much that like James doesn't follow through with that promise to live on. And like Mary's reading like, I want you to live on and be happy and that's all I need.
Yeah.
He doesn't do it. And to me that's kind of like it's too grim. Like, it's too much. There is no light at the end of this tunnel. These people are just too broken to live on with their lives. It's very effective, but it's also just like such a bummer.
Yeah, I think I actually kind of like it on that regard, but I wouldn't like it if it was the only ending. If it was the one true ending, you know?
And like, none of these endings have been confirmed to be canon.
No, they're not. Like,
it's very much up to your interpretation.
Yeah, it's interesting because like, Leave is the most satisfying, but it's the one where the fiction falls apart the most. In Water feels thematic and appropriate. Then there are a few other endings, aren't there, Ash?
And I would describe these endings as being dumb idiot endings for losers.
So wait, is your favourite ending Leave?
I guess so, yeah.
Oh.
I mean, my favourite ending's in Water. Like, in terms
Really?
of its like, actual, like, its power as a part of the story. But it veers so much into, like, oh, this is so depressing.
Yeah.
That it's hard to feel good about it, even though I think it's the best one.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
So I'm pretty sure the only other two endings that were in the PS2 version was the first one, which is the first post-game one, which is Rebirth, which basically requires you... So when you play the game on New Game Plus and you get the stick chainsaw, you have to find 4 items throughout the world, which are kind of like occult paraphernalia.
Yeah.
And they're all talking about the resurrection of someone who has died.
Yeah.
So the game ends with James sailing towards this island where he's like, the ancient gods have not left this place, and I will use this ritual to bring Mary back from the grave.
He's going to cast a magic spell.
He is going to cast a magic spell.
Like, it does feel like it's the one that's the most tied to the original mythos of Silent Hill 1.
Yeah.
It's silly. I don't mind it, though, to be quite honest with you. Like, I think it's a neat alternate ending.
I think the thing that makes it work is that you don't actually... It's not like you see a resurrected Mary.
No.
Like, you get no confirmation if the ritual works. It's just what James has been driven to try doing.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. I think as well that, like, you could see him doing it. Like it makes sense for someone desperate to bring their wife back would, like, reach that result.
Yeah. And then, Connor... And then the 4th ending in the PS2 version. The only ending. The ending that brings it all together. Where that explains who was behind it all along.
Oh, yeah.
The dog ending.
The motherfucking dog ending. Why is the art like that? Well, let me tell you.
About dogs.
So this requires you, it's like a New Game Plus ending, and it's like you need to collect these specific items in order to get into a room inside the hotel.
Well, before you get to this particular detail, I just want to point out that the room is in the corridor immediately following the revelation that you killed Mary. So you go out into that corridor, and that's where the door is.
We just see a big cartoon computer and a map that has a head for Maria and a head for James on it, and this fucking Shiba Inu in like a headset pulling 2 levers, and then James walks in. It says in Japanese, regardless of what language you're playing the game in. So it was you all along. You were behind this. And the dog looks back at him. James falls onto his hands and knees. Sad. The dog gets off of their fucking...
Why did you sound like Donald Trump tweeting?
I haven't thought about that in fucking years. The dog gets off of its stupid little wheelie stool that it's on, goes up to James, and, like, licks his face a bit. And then the credits...
So the credits for the other endings, the song changes based on the ending you get.
Yeah.
So for Leave, it's a song called Love Overdose or Love Delusion.
Yeah.
I can't remember which one it is. One's from the Caligula Effect.
Yeah.
Anyway, never mind. And the face is James's face as the credits roll.
Yeah, it's like a dark.
Yeah. And like Love Overdose or Love Delusion. It's like a Akira Yamaoka classic pop song. It's got like a kind of grungy industrial sound to it.
Yeah.
And then In Water, which honestly I think kind of like undercuts In Water's effectiveness a little bit. It plays Angel's Thanatos, which is just like this fucking heavy metal, like...
It's this dirge, yeah. I think the justification for Angel's Thanatos is that it kind of embodies the sort of anger of like of like Mary basically taking a huge chunk of James' life from him.
Yeah.
I think James kind of deciding to go that way into the water. He's doing an angry act.
Yeah.
Like deciding that he's just going to say fuck it all and do it that way. Now we'll be together. It's like an act like that comes from complicated feelings.
Yeah, it does.
And I'm going to try and not talk too much about it. 1, because YouTube will demonetize me, and 2, because fucking I can't. I'm not a proper expert on this kind of thing. I can't speak.
We're the Tulip guys, okay?
We're the Tulip people. We talk about Agony Man. And then also the Rebirth ending has the reverse will, doesn't it? It's a slightly more out there song. It's like another Akira Yamaoka sort of classic. But it has like this speech playing over it, which is the Lord's Prayer said backwards by a child.
The reverse will?
Yeah, the reverse will. I think the belief is that the child is Laura, because it's apparently her voice actor. But like,
whereas the dog ending,
the dog ending, instead of James's stupid mug, It's the fucking dog in the same shading, in the same, like, shadow style. And it plays this fucking little, like, ditty on an electric organ with, like, dog barks, like tunes. And it plays, like, tiny clips from the game, like, both a mixture of, like, behind the scenes of cutscenes and, like, gameplay animations of, like, James getting strangled by the feet. And then, like, random pictures of characters' facial expressions. It shows a really buff version of James. It shows Eddie's stomach, which the dog growls at, which gives me a fucking theory, a game theory, a confirmation of my fucking theory. I believe that the dog was the one that got shot by Eddie.
I think the dog just does that because Eddie shoots dogs, not because it is the dog.
No, it's everything has to be connected. Continuity must eat itself, Ash.
Do you know the dog has a name?
What's her name?
Mira.
Ah, that's good.
Yeah. She appears in other joke endings in Silent Hill.
Yeah. The credits fucking end with a picture of, like, Maria in lingerie with a moaning sound.
It goes like, moi. Yeah. You also forgot about the bit when rotating flying pizzas fly over the screen.
Oh, you're right. That bit's fucking golden. The dog ending is fantastic.
Oh yeah, 100%.
The art is this specifically because Sen was like, okay, I will do Silent Hill only if the ending art is the dog ending.
I will only accept dog ending.
And thus, that's where we are. But what are the other endings, Ash?
So, remember in Fatal Frame 2 when they did an Xbox version?
Yeah.
And they had endings in it and they were stupid.
Yeah.
Well, they did an Xbox version of Silent Hill 2.
Uh-huh.
They fucked up the flashlight and the fog vision is good.
Fuck.
But they also have Born from a Wish.
Oh, how do you feel about Born from a Wish,
It's completely
Ash?
pointless and superfluous. Alright, here's my Born from a Wish minute. You play as Maria shortly before she meets James. She awakens in Heaven's Night and is like, I don't know why, but I gotta go find this James guy. She then explores a spooky haunted house for like an hour. And then like she's like talking to this guy from a door and he's like, you should stay away from that James. He's a bad influence. And then you get into the room and he's not there. He was never real. And then Maria's like, I'm gonna shoot myself. And then she goes, nah, I'm gonna go find James. And that's all that happens in Born from a Wish.
Okay.
It's over. No more Born from a Wish.
I'll take your word for it.
So the Xbox version adds 2 endings.
Mm-hmm.
It adds the Maria ending, which is gained by being obsessed with Maria and doing things that implies that you don't care about Mary, like skipping the cutscene in the hallway or not doing the doctor's talk with James in the hotel.
Yeah.
And it basically it's basically the idea is that James can't let go of Maria, like he's become obsessed with her. So it changes the ending boss fight to be instead against Mary, who's like, you're running off with that dream, hussy! How could you do this to me? And then you have the same boss fight, which he becomes a big cage.
Yeah, but this time it's not Maria in disguise, it's the
Mary.
actual Mary.
She's like, how dare you!
It's fucking identical. Isn't another modifier to get this ending that, like, when you have the segments with Maria in, like, the town, you need to stay close to her?
Yeah, and protect her and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, after this, you kind of get a cutscene where you are going back into the parking lot to James's car to leave.
Yeah, and you're like, you're with Maria, and you're like, let's get out of here, babe.
Yeah, and then Maria starts coughing.
That's another James line I always think about, where he's like, you should really take care of that cough.
Yeah, and he says it in, like, this very, like, dead serious tone where, like, it's very clear that, like, he's realized what the fuck it is. And he's like, you better do something about that cough.
I ain't going through this bullshit again.
Yeah, like...
when I come back and I have to fight Marianne.
I really like it as an ending.
Yeah.
Because...
I like it as, like, an alternate ending.
Yeah, because of the fact that it's like, you're gonna go through this shit again. Yeah. Like, you've rejected the possibility of reconciling your feelings with Mary. You have become the person that Silent Hill was trying to tell you not to be.
Yeah.
And who the fuck gets the last laugh here? It's fucking Silent Hill.
Silent Hill always wins, baby.
Like he's walking away with a lying figure in a skirt.
Yeah.
Let's not beat around the bush here. Yeah. But like, in the end,
it doesn't even matter.
What is the last ending?
So Silent Hill 1, classic game. Maybe you've heard of it.
Yeah.
Its joke ending was a UFO ending, where the protagonist of the game, Harry Mason, was kidnapped by aliens. And I think the fans were furious, Connor.
Oh.
Because there was no continuation of the UFO plotline in Silent Hill 2 as it was originally released.
Oh, that's the actual reason it didn't get received well, yeah.
There was some bullshit with a dog. Like, what the fuck's that?
What do you
That's
mean?
stupid.
That completely kills the tone. Not even Guy Seehee wanted to record that line about the dog.
He was like, I'm out of here.
If it was the UFO ending, he would have been all over it.
So the remake adds a UFO ending to the game, where basically it's like a silent movie.
Yeah.
It's like being like played on an old camera, and all the characters are silent, and like their dialogue comes up in little text boxes after they've spoken, like it is a silent film. And basically, what happens is that James is wandering around, and then a UFO comes down, and Harry Mason comes out of it, and it's his fucking PS1 ass model, so he looks like shit. And he's like, "Oh, hello, James. It is I, a normal human man." And then James is like, "Oh, cool." And then he's like, "Zap him," and he zaps James and kidnap him, and it's like, fuck.
Oh, shit.
Get dunked on, James.
Well, that's definitely better than the Leave ending, I gotta tell you.
Oh yeah, that's canon to me.
You know, justice is seen. It is done. We get continuity. Silent Hill 1 is brought up.
The broad tapestry continues on.
Yeah. That's the best improvement a port could possibly make. That's all of it in one go. Oh my fucking Christ! This is the longest episode ever.
Let's not talk about the HD collection.
We were
Alright,
going.
no. Here's my HD collection minute. They fucked it up.
Yeah, look, there's a lot of other stuff talking about the HD collection, and all you really need to know is that they tried to port the game over with some incomplete code and with very little time, and it resulted in a very rushed project that didn't really adapt the game right.
No. I remember at the time, because Silent Hill had been going through a very rough patch where all of its most recent games were rubbish, terrible, idiots. They made a fucking dungeon crawler for the Vita.
Yeah, they did.
What the fuck was going on there? And I remember saying to people, like, we would have conversations about, like, who is the most oppressed group. Obviously gamers. But within gamers, who is the most, like, spat upon fan base. And I was like, they literally, like, Konami ripped through time and made the good ones bad. Like they weren't satisfied with making bad new ones. They made the old good ones bad as well.
Yeah.
It's impressive work.
It's crazy because those are the most available versions of the game, really. And it's like...
I know. It's like the only place you can play the PS2, or like the original Silent Hill 2 is on the Xbox Series X.
Yeah.
With the HD collection, and it's awful.
The HD version's like got some weird new assets. It's got Comic Sans signposts. It's got like... the fog is barely there, so a bunch of the visuals look like dog shit. And the new voice actors give it a good college try to try and remake the original vibe, and they don't quite
They got
make
fucking
it.
Troy Baker to voice James.
Yeah.
That's the big funny thing I had about it, is that they have Troy Baker voicing James and Laura Bailey voicing Angela,
Yeah.
who are both characters in Persona 4. So at the very start, when they're talking about this weird fog in this town, I just could not see Persona 4. I was like, this is gone for me now. It's over. It's so over. The basic rundown is don't play the HD collection, please. It totally shatters the atmosphere of the game. It's not a good way of playing it.
Yeah. Only out of utter desperation should you really go for it. Now, there is also the Bloober Team remake, but again, this episode is going to be potentially 4 hours long, and that's too much.
Yeah.
Like, I think I'm going to need to follow you up on the idea of doing a remake minute at a later date.
Because I have like a 40-minute Bloober Team remake tangent to go on. Like, I've got a lot to say about that. I can't rush that.
Yeah, that's completely fair. Our concluding thoughts on Silent Hill, if we have any, because what a fucking game, right?
Yeah.
This game has occupied my thoughts for the last 5 years. It is one that I went out of my way to re-experience again and again. One that I wanted to. I wanted to hear more about it from other people, so I watched YouTube videos about it. It's like that typical, like, not necessarily full on hyperfixation moment, but it was a game that, like, this was a real fucking win for you on this front. Like, this absolutely worked out on the, like, Connor, please like a survival horror game. As like, here is like the absolute masterclass of how to do this.
Oh. So you like this really engaging game with an incredibly thought-provoking story and not my sad ghost girl game? It's just not pleasing you.
Hey now, I'd say the Fatal Frame had better gameplay combat-wise.
Yeah.
So I'll give it credit for that. If you could somehow combine those two things together, maybe
I don't think Silent Hill 2 would be improved with a sick-ass combat system.
That's the thing. Silent Hill is a game with, like... It feels wrong to call Silent Hill 2 perfect, but everything about it comes together in the right way. Like, even its combat not necessarily being good. Like, a fucking stupid-ass boss fight with Pyramid Head, right? It's like weapon selection not being amazing. It's like lack of real options there. It's like, you try to enhance those things and you take away a lot of, like, how this game feels, right?
Because I think my concluding little thesis on Silent Hill 2 is that it it's like saying that Frankenstein has pacing issues. It's like, it doesn't necessarily matter about the individual components, because taken as a whole, it's like this incredibly unique, genre-defining, thought-provoking, nothing else is like it game, that it feels small to come at it for these small issues that are like, it's like, the enemy variety is bad. Who fucking cares? It's got the most incredible story and atmosphere and look.
Yeah.
And it just, I don't want to like shut people down who want to criticize Silent Hill 2 on a mechanical level, because that is valuable. But in the grand scheme of things, I don't care. Like, it all comes together for an experience that I think is like the best of what games have to offer.
Yeah.
And to me, to get bogged down in like the combat variety or the difficulty, it's like, I don't want to talk about that shit.
That's fair enough. It's funny you bring up enemy variety specifically, because that is a thing where I was like, you probably could get, I've forgotten his fucking name, Masahiro Ito? Masahiro Ito, yeah. I could picture them being like, give him a little bit more time to draw some more enemy designs and like get some more models out there and have a few more guys wandering around, because I prefer that over fighting Abstract Daddy again. Yeah. But like, at the same time, I do kind of agree that like, if you had a sweet dodge and a parry and like 12 katanas and like fucking machine guns and whatever, it wouldn't quite work, right?
Well, I got 2 points to make about it. The first is that I think what enhances this is that once you're a Silent Hill professional like I am, and I don't even think you have to be that good at it. I think as long as you know what you're doing with the puzzles, you can get through this game in 4 hours. Like, I did 2 playthroughs of this game for this podcast. Both took me 4 hours and 15 minutes.
Oh, wow.
Precisely. And I think the fact that it's so short and that it offers no friction allows it to just exist as like an aesthetic experience rather than as like a satisfying game. To me, it occupies that space. And then the other point I'd like to make is that, for me, the value of these limitations and of these problems is that this is a game that is like the product of all the sums of its parts. Yeah. Like, did you think you just fell out of a coconut tree? No way, Jose. Like, this is a game made by people who had flaws, who had limitations, who had budgetary constraints, who had technical constraints, who were rushed to make this game. Yeah. And it all culminated in both the very, very positive parts of it and the negative parts of it. And for me, like, a piece of art is the limitations and the flaws as much as it is the perfections.
Yeah.
Like, it's a reflection of time, of place, of people, of effort, of all these different factors. And that's what makes it a collective whole of something that's really fun to talk about rather than just like an objective discussion about it.
Yeah. And again, 2001.
Yeah.
Fucking hell. I'm not going to say there weren't any other revolutionary video game stories at this time, but this was a real pioneer in so many ways. Which leads us to the rankings. And this is going to be interesting, eh? So, quality-wise, Ash, how are you feeling?
4.5 stars.
I think that's very fair. I was considering giving this a 5, but considering it has several flaws in it that ultimately contribute to this whole setup working, I'd say 4.5 as well.
Well, honestly, like, forgetting that big speech I just made, quality is the objective qualifier on our list.
Yeah.
And this is not a perfect game.
No, it can be a little tedious at points, and we could have done with some more interesting weapons and some more varied enemies. Small adjustments here and there that would have made the experience smoother or more fun. But that's not what's important. What carries this score are its fantastic visual design, which also slightly holds it back from a 5 since we can directly compare it to Silent Hill 1 and 3, but whatever. Its storytelling is fucking beautiful, and its tone and atmosphere is gorgeous.
Yeah.
Now, interesting.
I'm gonna give it a 2.4.
Shut the fuck up.
I mean, you know, you just fight a bunch of squids for a while. It's not great, is it? No, it's a 5. Come on.
It's absolutely a 5.
It's the most 5 on this list of all time.
Yeah, this is up there with Tulip. You know, it's a real interesting game.
I'm having an aneurysm. You killed me.
Good. Well, I mean, like,
Rule of Rose was right there. But
I think I said in the Tulip episode there was one other game that was like potentially more interesting than Tulip. I don't think it's this one, but like considering its story and everything, what it does, and like how even its flaws come together to make this like product, like This has given me so much to think about, man. There's so much to speculate on, and like...
This episode's 4 hours long.
This episode's 4 fucking hours long.
We had 4 hours of things to say about it.
God! Jesus. And then there is fun.
It's like freestyles, I don't know.
Yeah, so this is like, I'm gonna do the Connor thing.
Oh, he's coming at it again.
It's probably like a 2 for fun, and the main reason being that I don't think that's the point of this fucking game, right?
His friendship is so over.
Like, it's not the, like, okay, I'll admit that, like, when it comes to ranking low for, like, say, Signalis or for Fatal Frame or that kind of thing, it is because, like, I just felt like mechanically wise, those things, like, just don't work for me. Silent Hill 2, like, no, like, this game isn't meant to be like fucking Doom.
Yeah, it's not like we were listening to Mary reading out the letter. We were like, yeah, this is radical.
Yeah, I wasn't shoving popcorn in my face and fucking like screaming like I was in a roller coaster ride. That's not what Silent Hill 2 is.
Yeah.
And like to some, the idea of sitting down and like watching an art house movie is fun. I'll give you that. That's fine. But I am someone who still plays fucking Crash Bandicoot, so whatever, you know?
You make no jumps in this game.
You do not make a single jump. You do not spin away Pyramid Head. You do not jump on the line. You do not sleep. You do not fucking jump on Abstract Daddy 3 times and he spins around and flattens you. But this is still an incredible fucking game.
Yeah.
By God. We've just talked about an absolutely...
Oh, fuck off. Oh, God, I just remembered what we have to do now.
We've just talked about this absolutely pioneering game for like storytelling, for graphics, for like for like tone and sound and everything like that.
I think we got to keep at this level.
No, I want to play the exact fucking opposite of that. I don't want a palate cleanser. I want to swallow wasabi right now.
I can't fucking believe you. Like, how dare you imply for even a second that the Sniper 2 is not just as important and as incredible as Silent Hill 2. They both end with 2.
They do.
That means they're both the same.
But only one of them can share the beautiful, beautiful title of being the 22nd episode of The List Goes On, right?
If any of you know what the Sniper 2 is, you have won.
Congratulations.
Please write in for your prize.
You are winner. If you do not, stay tuned for us making history where we release the least viewed episode of the show, which we'll get...
No, we're going to bring it back because 1 hour of the show is going to be about Sniper 2, which is longer than the game. And then the other hour is going to be about the JFK assassination.
Oh my God.
So yeah, that's going to be pretty exciting stuff.
But thank you for listening in, guys. Wowee.
We're either going to have to really edit this one, or you're just going to have to put up with a 4 hour long podcast.
Some people are going to love that, though.
Yeah.
Lo-fi Silent Hill discussions to fall asleep to.
Hell yeah, baby.
But if you are interested in like seeing more from us, there's a whole lot more of The List Goes On where it came from. I'll probably link Signalis at the end of this one, the most closest Silent Hill 2 game from everything else on the list.
It's Silent Hill with lesbians.
Yeah.
And robots.
And I'll put a link to my main channel as well, probably the latest video that I've worked on, which I hope you enjoy, because I put a lot of fucking work into the most recent video that I had to do.
That's alright.
You haven't even seen it yet.
I just know from the vibe.
Just know.
Yeah.
From your psychic connection. But thank you everyone for listening. You are wonderful, wonderful people, and we always appreciate you tuning in each time.
We're coming up towards kind of the end of season 2 now, so
oh yeah, the last run of it.
Yeah, get you heads thinking about the awards, because we got some big surprises for you.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, hope you have a good one, guys.
Yeah, thank you so much for listening. Goodbye.
Don't
die.
Make good choices.
Make your choices.
Yeah.
Live your Burger King lifestyle. Oh my fucking god.
Oh my fucking god.
Christ.